They know. That's why Alberta has trusted.
That is a 7-point Spurs lead.
For years. If you
because you know Webby's going to get a blow here in a few minutes.
Instantly guaranteed.
Another long three-pointer, lines it up and knocks it down. So smooth from long distance.
98. With mortgages to go, you'll say,
like to score a winning deal at Car West Leduc.
That is a 7-point Spurs lead.
Town on your birthday. Feel it now. Car West Leduc. Experience the best, uncompromising selection of top quality used vehicles with no extra fees. Trucks, sedans, vans, SUVs, and more. Backed by family-run service and top dealer ratings on Google. So when the final siren goes, you go home with a deal you'll never forget. Car West Leduc, 6514 Sparrow Drive Leduc, or at carwestautosales.com.
We just dropped a massive payload at NISQ 4. It's time to unload some deals at the Truckload of Savings event. If you've been waiting to upgrade, we've backed up the savings with unbeatable offers on our toughest Ford. Right now, haul away exactly what you need and take advantage of massive price drops across our entire lineup, including the legendary Ford F-150 for the job site or the weekend getaway. Shop the Truckload of Savings at nisq4.ca. NISQ Ford, above expectations.
Everybody loves a beautiful day in Edmonton. Hey, it's Jamie, and Green Drop Lawn Care is giving you one more reason to love the nice weather. Next nice day service. People always ask,
how soon can Green Drop get here?
Well, when you sign up with Next Nice Day service, we'll be there by tomorrow. Assuming Mother Nature cooperates, we'll be fertilizing and treating your weeds by the very next day. We'll even include drought fighter at no additional cost. Just another reason we have been Canada's lawn expert since 1979. Easy online signups only at greendrop.com.
At Wendy's, get a 10-piece nugget small combo for just $8.99. That's right, $8.99 for 100% Canadian chicken, plus fries and a drink. That's just good nuggenomics. Only until June 14th. In restaurant at participating Wendy's locations. Taxes extra.
The Jason Gregor Show.
Spurs, because you know Webby's going to get a blow here in a few minutes. Another long three-pointer, lines it up and knocks it down. So smooth from long distance.
On Sports 1440.
Got clock winding down. Castle has to put it up. Bang! Stephon Castle from three-point range. And it's a 7-point Spurs lead.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
That's the only base runner so far by Ernie Clements, launching deep to left field. Sosa runs out of room. It's gone.
What a tremendous Tuesday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, Twitch. Thanks as always for listening. Thanks for watching. Sports1440.ca. Maybe you got us on TuneIn. If you don't, you should get it. It's awesome. Get it even increase our ranking up there too. I love it. And man, there is lots going on in the world of sport. We are 2 days away. 2 days away from the start of the World Cup. Canada, of course, will begin their quest for their first ever victory. Could it happen? Could you be watching history Friday night? As a Canadian, I sure damn well hope so. Love to see a big win on Friday night. Of course, the Gregor Show is always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. And hey, you know what? Get your tickets tonight. Who knows? Maybe you win. You got Lotto Max, $10 million up for grabs, and 10 prizes of $100K. You win that big one, maybe even treat yourself. Maybe you'll go to a Canada game at the World Cup. You never know. Get your tickets, PlayAlberta.ca. And we have a loaded show for you today. Speck is back. He'll join us at 5 o'clock. We got Yaremchuk and DVD. Dave McCarthy from SiriusXM. Mike Commodore is going to join us today to talk some Hurricanes and also the topic du jour for the Oilers in Mike Babcock. Mark Killam, the head coach of the undefeated Edmonton Elks. First time in franchise history, the Elks franchise. You can say undefeated Edmonton Elks. So Mark Killamore joined us. Like, was it just me? Or was he like the happiest coach on the sidelines when that game began in the rain? That big smile. He's just like, bring it on. Like he was loving it. So we'll talk to him about that. It might be a guy who loves the rain. Well, maybe he's a mutter. Some of you will get that reference. If you don't, check it out. Last night, NBA, the Spurs, the Knicks, another exciting game. And the Spurs continue the road team 3-0 now in the NBA Finals. Who said such a thing as a home court advantage? But very close game again last night. They win by 4, and now we'll try to even up the series on Wednesday night. Excuse me. Get my days mixed up. Today is not Wednesday. Today is only Tuesday. And, Wembayana, big game. Jalen Brunson, solid game. Honestly, I thought Steven Castle was probably the difference maker, right, in the game. OG Anunoby, another really solid game. God, he has turned into a baller, right? Like when you look back at that Raptors team when they won, and obviously you had Kawhi and you had Kyle Lowry, but man, OG just quietly, he has really emerged as a solid NBA player. Can score. Some games, he might not score you 10 points, but he can score at 28 last night, and man, he can defend. Really, really solid player for the Knicks. And they will, Bridges obviously has got to shoot more than one basket in the game. That is not ideal. I think they'd probably like him to take a few more shots, preferably. And we'll see. It's been a very tight series. Game 4 should be electric. And hey, Cons, you talked about it yesterday. No pregame party outside, not allowed due to the appearance of the president. So clearly, if the Knicks win game 4 at home, I can tell you right now, if I'm the owner of the Knicks, ain't coming to game 6. Tell you that right now. Sorry. What have they won? 13 in a row? Then all of a sudden, no watch party? You lose. Now, am I superstitious? No. I'm somewhat being facetious. But I could see an owner of a team or a GM saying, hey, what changed? Okay, that changed. We're not doing that again. So we'll see what happens. The National Hockey League tonight, big game. Carolina, Vegas, and the Vegas Golden Knights with an opportunity to go up 3-1 in the Stanley Cup final, which gives you a pretty good opportunity to win, obviously. So, meanwhile, Carolina, Captain Obvious, they would like a better start. But think about it. Like there's not much separating these teams, man. We had the first game 5-4, second game 4-3 in overtime, third game 5-4 in double overtime. Are we going to triple OT tonight? I'm not covering the game, so selfishly I will say it yes, because I know that for fans out east that would not be ideal. Game puck drop tonight will be just after 6:00 our time. So in Vegas, man, they could go to it would take many periods for them to get too late in Vegas, right? If you're just in regulation, that game's done at 10-8 Vegas time. You're not even hitting a strip yet. So it would be, it could be a lot of fun. I wonder how many people are going down to that game, because I know there's many of you hockey fans like to travel well just to be in the buildings for big moments. Something tells me there's a few people traveling down for that. So 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. We got lots of texts, of course. And one of the, it's the day after the discussion about Mike Babcock, and I don't think the discussion is going to go away. We've had people say, hey, Gregor, when do you think the Oilers will announce that they've hired him? Well, there'll be nothing. First of all, you can't announce anything on a Stanley Cup game day. So wouldn't be an announcement today. Could be one, I guess, tomorrow, but right now there hasn't been any word that where's the NHL and where's the NHLPA on this? Which it always begs the question for me. Like, can we think of a coach who was where you had, okay, are we allowed to hire this guy? Like, that's a little bit of a red flag, isn't it? At the time. So I know people say second chances. I totally agree on second chance, but this is more than a second chance. He had the second chance in Columbus. It didn't go very well. Didn't even get to a game played. And my question today more so is we should probably dig into the why question. Because I think if we're ever going to have good conversations, usually the best conversation discussion come from a who, what, when, where, why, how, right? In one of those fashions. And so I think the simple question is, why would Edmonton do it? And, you could look at a few things. People say, oh, he's a really good coach, won 700 games. Yeah, that's true. Won a Stanley Cup. True. Won Olympics. True. Also has a history and a track record of multiple players in multiple organizations where how he treated them was less than desirable. Less than I would say is even acceptable, to be honest. And I wrote about it a few weeks ago, and we discussed it on the show. So I don't need to revisit the stories about Commodore and Franson and Modano and Marner and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Because I know some people think, well, you know what? Oh, those are a few and they're only ones. No. Here's the thing about Mike Babcock. And I'm a big believer if you continually allow people to get away with certain actions, think about it as a parent. If you keep going to your kid, that's one, that's two, that's three, but there's never any consequences. Well, guess what? That's one, that's two, that's three means nothing. Right? There needs to be consequences to their act. You want to make a decision? Great. But there has to be consequences to the decision. And so how about the story of Mike Babcock in his first year as a rookie NHL head coach in Anaheim? So he shows up, his first training camp. You know what he does? Jason York, Denny Lambert, and German Titov were there. So when Lambert and O'Rourke said, and Titov wasn't interviewed or didn't respond to the interview, but he was in the same place. Lambert and York said they arrived at the Ducks training camp to find their names had been removed from their stalls and their gear cleared out. Babcock told them they could not be around the team at all. The players practiced alone on empty ice in the afternoon. This is his first training camp. What are you doing? Like how you can't even compete for a job? Right away, you're trying to send a message to everyone, I'm in charge. And you need to know you're in charge. Right? Lambert said he asked the coach, like, hey, man, what happened? What is his performance? Babcock said there's nothing he could do to change his mind. He basically went in there saying, I'm going to make an example of someone. I'm not going to explain why. So there's that example. What about Tony Martinson, who also played for the Ducks? Now, he told this story to the Swedish newspaper Expressen that Babcock derided him for being too small and weak. Before one game in the 2003-04 season, Martinson was part of a pregame warm-up. But when he came off the ice into the locker room, Babcock told him he wasn't playing. Martinson started changing. Babcock then said in front of the entire team, what are you doing? He's told him to change away from the team in the shower. See, if you want to say, okay, you know what? You're not playing. That happens all the time. Player comes off the ice. You've been to games. Sometimes there's an extra forward in warm-up. Sometimes there's an extra defenseman. Sometimes there's both. Coach comes off afterwards. Okay, you guys aren't playing. Whatever. Away you go. But why do you get out of here? All you're doing there is you're bullying. Right? And to me, there's a clear pattern. Frankie Corrado, the TSN analyst, right? Spoke his words. He talked about how Babcock told him so he got claimed off waivers by the Leafs from Vancouver. So you come into a new team, and Corrado said Babcock, first thing he told him was, I have no idea who you are. He said to meet him at the Leafs training facility the next day at 8 a.m. Corrado arrived early, knocked on Babcock's door, but the coach told him he didn't have time to see him. He waited for an hour and a half, and Babcock never made time for him. Now, Corrado didn't play very much. It was a healthy scratch. But in practices, Babcock would quietly instruct him to go first in drills. So he'd have to push past the star players in line, basically breaking kind of the hockey decorum. If you ever watch practice, top guys kind of go first. That's how it is. Then he had to kind of awkwardly explain to the players, well, the coach told me I had to do it. All right. Corrado eventually later experienced panic attacks, threw up regularly before games because of anxiety, something he'd never experienced before playing on Babcock's team. It was cruel. It went on way too long, and it did way too much damage to me. I think he loves bleeping with people's heads. I really do. These are exact quotes. These are players talking about it. You know, there's Peter Holland. There's other ones. And how about in Toronto? Now, this is the one that, you heard the Mitch Marner story. Well, early in Babcock's tenure with the Leafs, the team trainers completed player evaluations ranking work ethic on a 3-level scale, red, yellow, and green. He called a meeting with the players and the team's training staff and projected the red reviews on a wall for all to see. Trainers said they're led to believe their evaluations would be confidential. You're doing that to the team trainers. Why? You're creating chaos, you're creating uncomfortableness, and you're really trying to divide players. Everybody's on edge. So we're talking over the course of different teams, different times. But the one thing I've noticed, if you go back and look at who the players that Babcock seeks out to bully or make uncomfortable, it's never the top guys. It's a rookie. It's a fringe NHL player. Or it's a guy at the last legs of his career. That's who it is. Because that's who bullies go after. They go after the weak. They go after the people they feel they can take advantage of. And so my question is, when you have all of this, has there been anywhere where you could say, you know what? Mike Babcock said, man, I acted the wrong way. Because the last time he was really asked about it was in an article in Sportsnet in 2022. Quote, here's Babcock. When he was asked over the past 2 years if he had any takeaways. It's real simple for me. Anything in my life that I've done that I should be feeling bad about and I should apologize for, I'm good with that. I have to own it and I should do that. But some of the math doesn't add up. It just doesn't. And he was talking about, what people were saying about him. Doesn't sound like someone who's that remorseful. So that's my question. I don't have if everybody makes mistakes, hell, I've made lots. But at some point, if you're going to belittle and bully different players in front of the team, because that's when you know you're feeling comfortable, is when you do it in front of others. Chris Chelios talked about the Johan Franzen one. So I think it's a valid question to ask, why is Babcock the right answer? Now, I know Ryan Rishaug reported that the players' leadership group has signed off and they're good with Babcock. And honestly, I can understand why. Because they're not the ones that Babcock goes after. Doesn't have a history of it. Mitch Marner was a young player. Wasn't an established 100-point guy when he did it. Wasn't at all. You never heard stories of him going after Lidstrom, Datsuk, Zetterberg. Right? It wasn't those guys. So I wouldn't expect it to be in Edmonton. But the valid question will be now, if you're a bottom 6 player, which Edmonton would like to upgrade, how comfortable are you coming to a team when you have a coach who that's the group of players that he's went after? Not his top pair defenseman, not his top 6 guy. Not that he doesn't hold them accountable, and there's nothing wrong with holding players accountable. I think that's a good thing. There's lots of coaches that can hold you accountable while still treating you like a human being. Both can happen. But if you have a reputation and proven on record by multiple different players and multiple different teams in how you treated them, and you're at the bottom of the lineup, and that's the area where the Oilers need to improve, are you going to get your first choice? Or some guy's going to be like, might not be worth it. I don't know the answer, but it's a valid question. And so I'll be curious to see, because here's the thing. The NHLPA really pushed for Babcock to be gone in Columbus, right? Remember, and here's what we don't know. Remember originally when the story came out on Spitting Chicklets that Babcock was doing with his camera. And then Columbus said, no, that's overblown. Then the NHL did an investigation. None of the investigation was made public, but that's when they said, Babcock, you got to go. So whatever happened, what did they find? What did they uncover in the investigation? Because from the initial reaction of the Blue Jackets organization, even trotting out Boone Jenner to say, no, everything was fine. And it might have been for him because he was the top. He's at the top. He's the captain. He wasn't one of the bottom guys. And how he would have interacted with the captain would be very different based on his history of how he would interact with the bottom guys. So what was found in that investigation where they said, you know what? Can't come back? I think it's a valid question. And if there was something that they clearly felt was over the line, what's changed now? Did he go to counseling? What's happened in between to say, okay, 2023, made a mistake. We didn't like it. 2026, what's changed? I think those are fair questions to ask. And I'll be curious to see what happens. I'll be honest, I'd be stunned if the NHLPA pushed back on this. And maybe I'm a little jaded right now, because if I look in the world, unfortunately, there's lots of examples of where people in positions of power or in positions to limit those who are in power of using their power for negative, they don't speak out as much or as often. Right? And we're seeing that right now in the world today. So I'm probably jaded, and I'll admit, I don't think they're going to say or do anything to stop it. And then we'll see where it goes. But all I'm saying is if you expect it to be different when there's nothing that has shown it'll be different, that's a big risk. That's all. Quick break. When we come back, Mark Killam, the head coach of the Elks, will join us on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquacentral reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade: safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
You don't just need property services, you need problems handled. HireGood provides cleanup, debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. We resolve real problems for businesses while creating real impact, because our team is built on second chances, and they show up every day ready to prove it. Visit hiregood.ca or call and mention Jason Gregor for a first-time discount. HireGood. Stable jobs create stable lives.
There's one game that kicks off summer, June 20th at Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. The Elks home opener, Elks Alouettes, presented by James H. Brown, Alberta Injury Lawyers. Lock in your tickets now at goelks.com/tickets. Our city, our year.
When your project can't afford downtime, call Japa Equipment Rentals. From excavators and wheel loaders to compaction equipment, Japa has the machines you need. Trusted since 1972. Visit japaequipment.com or stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations.
It's like a locker room, minus the smell.
Ew.
Kevin Carius brings the banter, the buzz, and the bold sports talk. Weekday mornings from 7 to 11 on Sports 1440, Edmonton's home for sports.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Bracelli hockey fans, your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 air conditioning install company for slushy lovers. Because while a slushy keeps you cool as an 80s song for a moment, AC from Legacy keeps you cold as ice all season long. A permanent full-body slushy sensation keeping you cold as ice with no payments and no interest for 1 year. Keeping you cool without the brain freeze. That's how you build a legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Cougar Creek Golf Resort is only minutes from Edmonton, so it's incredibly easy to fit in the perfect summer game anytime. Enjoy our championship-length golf course, surrounded by trees and rolling terrain. Book a tee time today. Go to CougarCreekGolf.com.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Listen up, friends. Operation Pizza is a go at Papa John's. They're introducing new personal pizzas just in time to celebrate the premiere of Toy Story 5. These adventure-sized pies come in new exciting flavors like Sheriff's Roundup, Space Rangeroni, and Reach for the Pie. Or take your personal pizza to infinity and beyond by creating your own flavor just for you. Order 2 or more with Papa Pairings and get yours for only $9.99 each. New personal pizzas are ready for takeoff. See Disney and Pixar's Toy Story 5 in theaters June 19th.
Portions of this hour brought to you by the Druid Irish Pub, Edmonton's favorite soccer home. The Druid Irish Pub is back in the Ice District across from Rogers Place. Watch all the games with $6.50 Heineken only at the Druid Irish Pub.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
#226, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're having a lovely Tuesday afternoon. Championship week, of course, NBA and NHL continues on. We have the World Cup beginning on Thursday. CFL kicked off last weekend, and for the first time in the franchise of the Elks, they're undefeated. They won their first game of the season. Convincing. I know the score only said it was 8 points. I thought they were better than that. As we get to our CFL report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer long at legacyheating.ca. As we are joined by the head coach of the Green and Gold, Mark Killam, on a bye week. Coach, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
So, Mark, I got to ask you, I was chuckling watching the game on TV. It's a monsoon rain pour, and, they scan the sidelines before the game, and here's Coach Killam, and looked like he had like a big grin on his face. It's pouring rain. There's no hat on. I know you got a good coif of hair, so maybe you're just like, hey, let it go. But, do you love the rain? I don't know if I've ever seen a coach that happy to be in the rain before.
It felt like someone was dumping a bucket of water on my head. That's how hard it was raining, but... No, you know what? I was just kind of giggling to myself. I mean, I think I did an interview earlier in the week when we practiced outside in the rain, and I said that football's played outside. And lo and behold, it was a monsoon. I didn't quite have that in mind when I said what I said earlier in the week, but I'm glad we got a chance to practice it.
So you've had a very not different plan, but just talking to you from year two, you felt like a little bit more organized in certain things you wanted to do, and obviously winning is what matters most in pro sports. So and it's very abnormal conditions. Normally you're not playing in that much rain. So what as a head coach did you feel most impressed by your team's performance in week one?
Finding a way. Week one is difficult because you don't have a lot of film. No one shows anything. Even though you have prior years' film on coordinators, everyone studies and evolves and tries to do that stuff in the off season. So you kind of go in, with what you think they're going to run, but you're not 100% sure. That's the first part. Second part, it's week one with your football team. I mean, you played a little bit together in the preseason, but not obviously 60 minutes. You don't really know who you're going to be. You have a good idea again, but until you get out there and let those guys spin, you know what I mean, and let them go for the entire game, you don't really know. And, we had, a little bit of adversity on the trip. We're out east. It's, conditions were what they were. And, I was just really proud of the guys for, finding a way. We kind of got on our heels. We jumped out. We were playing well early. We were moving the ball. We were throwing the football, which is important in those kind of conditions. And then, we had a little bit of momentum give up at the half, but came out strong in the third quarter. So I was pleased for the guys.
Yeah, and getting a win, lots of these guys haven't been there the whole time, yourself included, but everybody knows what the numbers are. And, starting out on the right foot is a good thing for your group. I want to start with your defense, Mark. Anytime you create that many turnovers, and I know, Ty Ford was, you can joke about it afterwards. I can't believe I dropped that one. And you guys could have had maybe 6 turnovers in that game. Your defense, lots of all returning secondary, linebackers have experience. You brought in some new D linemen, but lots of guys with experience. Your defense really seemed to be clicking right away. What did you like about your D? And do you feel, much more confident that your defense can disrupt a lot of offenses this year?
Oh, yeah, I do. I mean, I think first and foremost, they were physical, and that's who we're always going to be when we take the field, no matter what the fifth side of the ball you're talking. But you could really see it defensively. I mean, we were knocking things down too. They'd throw, something underneath, it'd get knocked down right there. So it wasn't a lot of yak. We were playing physical. We were getting, Jake off his first read a little bit and making him hold the ball, and that's always a good thing. But those guys, they've been looking like that all through camp. I mean, when you get that first group running together, and we're expecting big things. And similar to what you said, yeah, we made fun of them, but we called it out. We took the ball away 4 times, and to be the team that we want to be, we've got to come down with those 3. There was 3 other times we could have intercepted the football, and that's who we're going to be. So we continue to stress the things that we need to improve.
How much of those drops, Mark, do you equate to weather?
I don't know. I mean, in professional football, we feel like if you get your hands on the ball, you should be able to come down with it, especially if you're one of the more athletic players on the field in T Ford. So, I mean, he was kind of in an awkward position, kind of flipped over his hips, and it was like basically a punt. But, we could have ended the game. Yeah. And JJ could have ended the game. And, I mean, that's, that was the point I tried to make to the guys is that, first of all, I'm really, really, really proud, and I don't want them to lose the sight of the fact that we won a game in the last 3 minutes in the CFL, because that's what this league is. But we could have made those guys quit earlier in that game if we just, hung on to those, made a few more plays, scored some 7s instead of 3s in the red zone as well. So that's the things that we're looking at to try to improve.
Mark Killam joins us, head coach of the Green and Gold. You mentioned offensively, Mark, you know what? I guess let's start with Justin Rankin. And, there was lots of people thinking, hey, this guy's maybe the most electrifying player in the game. And week one definitely showed that. 2 unbelievable runs that, especially on the one where it didn't look like there was anything going, and then he just jukes and jives 2 guys, and boom, all of a sudden it's a 60-yarder, and you're kind of like, oh my goodness. I know we had Cody Fajardo on yesterday, and he said, due to the weather, you're hoping to get Rankin involved even more in the passing game. But when you have a guy who is that dynamic, how much more emphasis do you have to have as an offense to say, come hell or high water, we got to get this guy the ball?
Yeah, you do. I mean, first and foremost, the guy is worth the price of admission and then some. I mean, he is a bona fide superstar. He literally can score every single time he touches the football. So for a fan of the team, I think that that's incredibly important to know that they've got guys like that on the team. Second part of that is for receivers and everyone else on the football team, we got to do everything we can to make sure we're blocking and getting a hat on a hat, so that if he does catch a check down at 5 yards past the line of scrimmage, we understand he can turn it into 61 yards or whatever he did the other day. So, it kind of creates that belief and reinforces the things that you talk about on a daily basis, that he is a legitimate threat. So I can't remember what the first part of the question was, but that's when you're talking about Justin Rankin, you kind of get off on a sidetrack just like he is when he's on the field.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, like, I know you can't just have a game plan for one guy, but when you have a guy that dynamic, there's almost, hey, we got to I don't know if there's a set number of touches, whether it's receiving or running, to look to say, we got to be within a ballpark of, a certain amount of touches for this guy every game.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And we want to diversify as well, Jason. I think that was a big part of what we tried to spend our offseason doing, is evolving the looks a little bit, different personnel groupings, different formations, to try to put him in different positions versus, some of the things that we had success with last year. So you're right. There is, I don't know what the set number is. And, certainly as the season goes on, we have to diversify, because defenses will just, they're going to key what they're doing to where he is on the field. But, you definitely like to get him as many as you can, because he can change the game in so many ways.
So you go into your offense, Mark, and, settling for the field goals as often as you had. When you look back on the film, what do you feel you would have liked different, that you would take those and make them touchdowns rather than field goals?
I think there's some details on every single one of them was different. I mean, there's some details in execution. There's some alignment issues. There was one where, we ran the wrong route and we came off it, and that's when we went to stay on it. We couldn't squeeze it. There's a bunch of those that happen. And, the important thing is we identified them in our meetings the day after the game. We reinforce them to the players, and then we'll take that information when we put it into the plan next week and try to re-emphasize those things so that we can come away with touchdowns, not field goals. I hated kicking them. I mean, but points were at a premium at the time, but I thought getting them was the right thing to do at the time.
And that was going to be my question, because there's a few times that, you're inside the 5-yard line. What's the thought process there to say sometimes maybe we'll go for it? Obviously, you never want to turn down points, but there is the potential of being that close for a 7. Kind of take us through the mindset. Is that a split-second decision, or are those some things, Mark, that you've kind of thought of as a coach, in every scenario possible leading up to a game, to say, okay, if this happens, we're going to try this. If this happens, then we're going to do it. Does time of the game impact that at all?
Yeah, and I think opponent does as well. I know we have to score 7s to beat teams like BC, who we know are going to score points.
Okay.
I think that's all part of how we prepare during the week. I'll sit down with Jordan before the game, and we'll go through all of, what do we like? 2nd and 2, 2nd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3 to 5. How many plays do we feel like we have? How many 2-point conversions do we feel like we have? If it's a gotta have it, what's our down and distance? So we go through all that stuff. Me just personally, as philosophy wise, is that I feel like if we're inside the 10, we should score touchdowns. And, conditions most certainly played into my decision making in the last game. The way that our defense was playing, I thought was good, but I also knew that points mattered, and we were trying to do whatever we could to come away 1-0 in that game.
Mark Killam joins us. So, Mark, what's the plan? It's early in the year. You don't have a ton of bumps and bruises for your team, and I know some guys went home or not, but how do you approach an early season bye week compared to maybe late in the year? How different is it, if any, for the coach?
Well, late in the year, our plan for this one, we made the plan back in January that we were going to create a sense of urgency through our off-season Zoom meetings, and then carry that into training camp, which we did, and then push right through camp, right into week 1 out on the road in Ottawa. So that was the plan. Then it was a reset, and then set up the next set of games. And so we've got, our home opener, we've got Montreal coming in, then we're on a short with Winnipeg. So we have a plan of how we're going to attack that. As far as from a coaching staff, this first bye, we had a similar one last year. It's kind of like a reset for everybody coming out of camp. Camp is difficult by nature, and we love it, but there's a lot of things that get put on the back burner because you're literally at the facility from 5 a.m. till after 9:30 every single day for a month. So, I know the guys. I know for me personally, it was here's this list of things at the house that I have that my wife has given me that I needed to get done in the next couple of days, which I will. But late in the season, we do a lot more self-scout, a lot more studies of trends in the league. There's only 1 week been played so far, only 2 other games in addition to our own. So those ones are already broken down. There isn't a lot of new information at this point.
All right. Now I know that Wood Manzi, you didn't get great news on him, unfortunately, and he's going to be out a while. Any other significant injuries, or is hopefully that the only one?
Atiba Maga-Clements is going to be a little bit longer. He was playing so good. He has a massive role on special teams, but also on defense. Early in the preseason, he was playing well. So he's going to be down for a little while in addition to Woody. Woody, I just want to say on air, Woody had 5 pancakes in that game, and he was putting people down. Yeah. And that's a big loss because not only is he big and physical, he's also extremely smart and brings a little bit of edge to that group. So he's just going to have to contribute from the sideline now and the meeting room.
Yeah, that's a huge loss. I thought that now maybe it had a little bit to do with it. They were just blitzing way more late in the game. I think that played a part in it, but there was definitely, a little bit of drop off when he leaves. The advantage you have, Mark, now as a coach is you've got options because you have such good Canadian depth. You could play Beard at the guard position if you want, or you could go with an American there in Cameron Carter because you still have 3 Canadians starting on defense in DB, linebacker, and defensive end. So is it too early to say you've made up your mind? Do you need to kind of see what happens in practice, or do you have an idea of kind of how you're going to deploy it without Wood Manzi?
Yeah, we've talked about it. You're correct. We do have some options there, which is good. Credit to the personnel department and credit to the players that made the team in those roles. That we do have some options. We'll get back when we're game planning for Montreal. We'll talk through it, and then we'll practice both ways just to make sure that whatever decision we made is the right one.
Okay. Well, Mark, what do you do for fun in your bye week?
I haven't really done anything. I've just been literally doing things at the house. Definitely not fun. Paid my property tax bill, stuff like that I haven't been doing. It's just there's all these jobs that I need to do. I bought a leaf blower last year, and that is like the ultimate man toy. I'll just bust that thing out and just leaf blow the driveway. I don't know.
Well, you're the neighbor who knocks on his neighbor's doors. Hey, do you guys need some leaves blown? What? Yeah. No problem. I get it. Hey, you know what? I understand it. It's good. There's just something about finishing a job that way. I totally get it.
That's right.
Awesome.
That's what
well, Mark, congratulations. Elks are undefeated. Hopefully it continues. Enjoy the bye week, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for having me on, Jason.
There you go. That's Mark Killam, head coach of the Green and Gold. And you know what? That Wood Manzi is a big loss. And Atiba Maga-Clements is another tough one. So, you know what? That's why you have depth. And I would expect, if it's me, that if you listen to what Ed Hervey said before the season began, what was their number one emphasis? They want to make sure they're protecting the quarterback. So I think Cameron 62 is going to be the right guard in place of Wood Manzi, and they'll go from there. But losing Atiba Maga-Clements, that's a pretty big blow too. Now, you've got some guys that you could bring on. Specifically, I guess the only. Trying to think, a linebacker would have to come from the backup position. Maybe Bradley Haddock comes in on special teams. Maybe Francis be maybe one of those two. That would be maybe my guess. So we'll see. We'll take a quick break. We will return, and the pride of Fort Saskatchewan, Stanley Cup winner, a gentleman who had a bathrobe not named after him, but that was like one of the marketing employees. Imagine that. Bathrobes given out in your name as an NHL player. We'll discuss it next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And directional drilling, hydrovacing, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
Saturday, June 20th is the day to be at Harley-Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail. Come live the legend because the HD semi-truck is rolling in, bringing you the exclusive chance to test ride the powerful new 2026 models. All you need is your riding gear and Class 6 license to ride. Be there to enter to win a 2026 Liberty Edition Heritage Classic, door prizes, and more. Don't miss the ultimate ride event of the summer. Locally owned and operated since 1980. Visit Harley-Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail or at hdedmonton.com.
Hey there, I'm in the Fountain Tire sidecar, making a list of the things I'm doing this spring. 1. Saving you money, with up to 20% off select tires until June 13th. 2. Water skiing, tricky in a sidecar, but fun. And 3. Saving you more money, with mail-in rebates of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires and $50 off a $150 service with the purchase of 4 select tires. Oh, that's 4 things. Oh well, restrictions apply. Book online at fountaintire.com. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Attention Alberta construction pros. For over 50 years, Japa Equipment Rentals has been your go-to for top-notch equipment and stellar service. Whether you need rentals or expert maintenance, we've got you covered. Stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations today.
Albertans love to debate the best way to enjoy summer sports.
No. Playing on the field is the best, man.
No way. Watching from the sidelines, way more relaxing.
You're both crazy. Checking out the game from the Bro Zone is where it's at.
But there's one thing every sports fan agrees on.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
Wherever you catch the action, load up on Alberta's best beef jerky.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky, because you can't have summer fun with salad. Only available in Leduc.
Our new McCafe crafted sodas just drinks or something more. Like Sprite Berry Bliss, Creamy Strawberry Coke, and Orange Dream. All swirled with fizzy flavor and topped with silky cold foam. Only at McDonald's. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
It's Canadian Tire's summer big red sale. Up to 50% off. Dude, I'm soaked. I mean, they told us to make a big splash, so I did.
Save up to 50% at Canadian Tire's summer big red sale, June 4th to 11th. Exclusions apply. Details online.
Cougar Creek Golf Resort is now open and in great condition. Experience our championship-length golf course, surrounded by trees and rolling terrain, and only minutes from Edmonton. Book a tee time today. Go to cougarcreekgolf.com and click on golf.
The funny thing about hitting the road to leave it all behind is you don't really want to leave it all behind. So Sherwood Honda has the SUV with plenty of room for all you want with you. Think Honda CR-V, the Honda Pilot, or maybe even a Ridgeline truck. With this kind of lineup, you can go where you want and bring all you want with you. You sure would make it easy to leave your cares behind by starting at Sherwood Honda.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Mortgages to Go. Need cash and have equity in your home? Mortgages to Go has you covered. When the bank says no, they say yes, and they've been doing it in Alberta for over 23 years. Call 1-888-888-5998 or visit mortgagestogo.ca.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
That song has held up so well over the years. Man, that's a great song from, geez. The fact that he was singing that in jail, really, if you kind of hear the backstory about him, and, you know, he was a guy who had been recovered alcoholic and was kind of low. That's a big reason why he used to go and perform with all the people, because he felt like, you know what, I was there at one point. So interesting stuff. Jason Gregor Show is always brought to you by playalberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province at playalberta.ca. And it's time now to go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical. They've grown in their 53rd year to be one of the most diversified electrical contractors in the province. And for all those thinking about commercial solar, you'll qualify for up to 30% federal tax credit, plus accelerated capital cost allowance benefits. Learn more, actionelectrical.net. And we are joined by a Stanley Cup champion, former NHLer, And really, we're going to start with the real hard-hitting questions with our guest, the pride of Fort Saskatchewan, Mike Commodore. Commie, welcome back to the show, man. It's 20 years since you won the Stanley Cup. Do you still have the bathrobe? Like, did you get multiple at the time so they wouldn't wear out? What's going on with the Hurricanes bathrobes?
Believe it or not, there was only one of those nasty bathrobes. There was never more than one.
Okay.
And believe it or not, actually, it happened right as I was getting our Cup weekend, Ray Whitney and I, in the Edmonton area, Fort Saskatchewan, around there. The Cup guy, it was the nasty, smell like booze and sweat bathrobe was in the back of my vehicle, and the Cup guy saw it. And Mike Bolt, and he was like, "Hey, what are you going to do with that?" I'm like, "I don't know. The thing stinks." He's like, "Could I have it?" I'm like, "What are you going to do with it?" He's like, "Well, I'm going to put it in the Hockey Hall of Fame." I'm like, "Shut up. No, you're not." He goes, "No, seriously." So they actually did put it in the Hockey Hall of Fame. So it's now, obviously 20 years later, I'm sure maybe it was on display for a hot second. Now it's in the basement, probably got mice and moths and God knows what else. But apparently, from what I'm told, that's where it is. That is stellar.
So did anyone ever send you a picture of the bathrobe on display in the Hall of Fame?
No. So I guess, yeah. So I guess I don't actually have proof that was actually on display. I just like to think so.
Oh, well, that'd be great,
They did still have it, though. They brought it back when we had our 10-year reunion in 2016. Yeah, so they did still have it as of 10 years ago.
Wow. So that's
the last time I saw it.
I love it. Now, did they clean it up a bit at least so it wasn't sweat? Did you try it on? It still fit?
Oh, yeah. I had to wear it on the ice. We brought the Cup out there for our 10-year. Yeah, I put it on over, I think I had a suit on, actually, or at least some slacks and a collared shirt. It actually didn't stink too bad. Oh, nice. I have a terrible nose, though, and I wasn't really standing too close to anybody, so I didn't get any complaints. There were no, disgustingly overt stains on it. So I don't know if they cleaned it or not. That's a good question.
Oh, nice. Now, so this is the 20-year anniversary. Are you guys now, and your team's in it again, which is crazy. Do you guys have a text chain amongst the guys kind of reliving the 20-year-old as you watch the series at all?
Yeah, we have a text chain actually that got put together fairly recently. We had our 20-year anniversary in December, which was awesome. And obviously not everybody can make it, but it was a really good showing. So we kind of put a text thread together there. Yeah, there's some text firing around. There's been some guys, there's a handful of guys that still live in the area there. There's been a couple of guys that have gone in and out for games. There's a little bit of a text thread going on there. Everybody, obviously, we're happy for Carolina and we want them to do well, obviously. But, I think if you polled the group, everybody's very, very happy for Rod, and we're all big fans of Rod Brind'Amour. And speaking of the Hockey Hall of Fame and my nasty bathrobe, well, my nasty bathrobe can get in there. So far, Rod can't. So we're thinking, hey, they're not going to let him in as a player. He can win this thing. What is it? The last time a player and a coach for the same team was Toe Blake. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So maybe this is his route. Roddy can try the coaching and get in both ways. Maybe.
Well, that would be pretty damn good.
Yes, it would.
Yeah. Quickly, we'll go to something else, but I do want to talk. Just watching this series, right? It's been wild, man. This is just from a pure entertainment standpoint. No lead is safe. It's back and forth. 2-goal leads blown. 4-goal leads blown. We got overtime, double overtime. As a former player, how do you get into how close you watching it? Do you find it really entertaining? Having beers, or you're kind of man, I'm not a huge Stanley Cup guy. Where are you?
No, I pay attention. I would say once I retired, that was 12 years ago. I was probably, if I'm being honest, a little bitter still, and I would avoid watching. But I would say for the last 7-8 years, I've gone onto it more. So I'm a fan just like everybody else. I think I've missed of the final here. I've missed one period.
Okay.
The last game, just to bring that in too, actually went out with Ray Whitney, and we were crushing a bunch of beers down here in Scottsdale. And we were, obviously cheering for the Canes. There was a little group of us there, and 4-0, things aren't looking good. We were kind of laughing about the Marner Leafs saying, I got up to take a piss in the third period, and I came back and I looked at the screen and I'm like, did I have way too many beers here? How is it 4-3? I just left. So it was definitely, I had to check my phone. I'm like, they scored 3 goals in 39 seconds. That's insane. So, if you don't have a real, huge rooting interest in this, if you're just a fan and you like hockey And you know what? I'll speak for a lot of people that are down here in Arizona. You know, there's definitely hockey fans here. But, you know, basketball's king and football's king and whatnot. There's a lot of more people than I remember tuning into hockey these days. I think a lot of it is the Four Nations from last year has helped. But there's a lot of people that are paying attention that come up to me at the gym or whatever, and they're like, hey, like, I watched that game last night. That was crazy, this and that. So I think for your average fan or people just getting into it or don't know much about it, it's a great watch. There's no question.
Mike Commodore joins us. And Mike, I wanted to get you on. Obviously, you know, the Edmonton Oilers, there's talk about them bringing Mike Babcock back. And I know that it's, like you've never been shy, and I always appreciate that. You know, a lot of people sometimes aren't willing to speak out, because I found it interesting how just in society, a lot of times people start saying, well, Commodore was soft about it. And I'm just like, what? Right. And now, like, I've found out so many other stories from different people that, you know, I don't discount that he's a good tactician. I don't argue that from anybody.
I've said that.
It's more like the communication factor. And as somebody who was kind of on the receiving end of it, does it frustrate you that, you know, he's going to get another chance now? Or are you like, whatever, it doesn't impact my life?
Well, first off, I would say whatever, it doesn't impact my life. But because of what happened over the last 10 years, I can't get away with this. I mean, anytime my phone blows up, and it doesn't very often, it usually isn't a great thing. And, you know, I had a great week planned here, Jason. I think I'm going to Game 5. Nice. I'm going to meet some of my boys from Fort Saskatchewan. We're going to go play Gamble Sands later this week in Washington. So I was all ready for a nice week. And then the Edmonton Oilers dropped this on me, which was a little bit of a downer on my Monday morning. But, yeah, I would say, you know, at the end of the day, it's, I mean, I'm obviously not a fan of the guy. I think he's a scumbag. I think he's a bad person. I know I've ended up being like the figurehead for it or whatever, kind of out against Babs, and the Leafs fans kind of were after me, and then they kind of saw the light once they canned him, and that's kind of happening again. Now, I haven't really said anything yet because I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to go down this road again. But I would say it's disappointing that guys like this are still getting opportunities. And I guess I'm sitting here. Look, I don't live in Edmonton. I pay attention to the Oilers. Don't get me wrong. I'm Flames alumni, but I pay attention to everything a little bit. I'm just sitting. I'm like, how did the Oilers get here? Is my first question. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, and this isn't an Oilers thing, but in my opinion, how the coaches, like what's going on with coaches these days is kind of crazy. It basically seems, other than your odd exception, it's like 2 years, 3 years. And if it doesn't work, you're gonzo, which I think is crazy. So from the outside looking in, I thought Knobloch having to move on was a little bit crazy. I mean, he's been there, 3 years, two cup finals. Things didn't go great this year, but you're not going to make the finals every year. Like, was that his fault? I don't know. I mean, I'm not there. I would guess probably not entirely. And then it seems, now correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, you're right in it, but then it seemed that thing with Cassidy got leaked. They wanted to talk to Cassidy, said no, that got leaked. Now they got a can Knobloch who just signed a 3-year extension. And if they were going to do that and they want to talk to Cassidy, I'm assuming they would be allowed to talk to Cassidy at the end of the season. Is that correct?
Well, we don't know that. Because Vegas said their response to why they didn't grant him permission was, well, we're focused on the playoffs, which I find very funny because he's not even part of the team. But so that was their out to say the playoffs. So a lot of people wonder, well, maybe when the playoffs is over, they'll do it, but there's no guarantee they will.
There's no guarantee. Okay. I was just wondering because to me, I mean, it seems kind of crazy that they wouldn't. I mean, they canned the guy for a reason. Like they didn't think it wasn't working. They didn't think it was working in Vegas. So I'm not sure why you would care if you went somewhere else at the end of the season. Maybe they didn't want that to be a distraction to the players during the playoffs. But to me, it's just, I mean, Stan Bowman and company got around in the last week and Babs is the answer. And you're doing it now. Like, why wouldn't you wait to see if you have the opportunity? If you wanted to talk to Cassidy, like, what's the harm in waiting another week? And then go from there. I don't really understand that. But at the end of the day, I mean, and I think you said it, Jason, I think I saw a clip of it. I mean, it's a sign of desperation. It's a desperate GM. And in a way, it's a desperate organization. I think we can all agree that Connor McDavid is for the last, what has he been there, 10, 12 years now?
Yep.
A decade at least, right?
Yeah, 11.
10, 12 years. I think we can all pretty much agree that he's the Gretzky of his era. He's been in Edmonton the entire time. Now, the Oilers have been successful. Nobody's going to sit there and argue that. He's been incredibly successful. He's won every trophy multiple times, except for the one that he really wants. And it hasn't been able to deliver on a Stanley Cup. He kind of put the organization on a little bit of a timer, so to speak, signing a little 2-year extension. And so it's panic time. And for whatever reason, Stan Bowman thinks Mike Babcock is the answer, which, I mean, the guy hasn't coached a game since, 2020, 2019?
Mm-hmm.
He's been getting paid the whole time. The guy hasn't missed very many paychecks. I get, okay, he won a cup in 08. He's won a couple gold. He does have a resume, there's no question. But there's been a lot go on since then. And I will say, from my point of view, it's a little bit frustrating. I've read some things online. Like, I haven't commented, but, if this does end up going through, I mean, the guy's a documented bully. He's a documented predator. All you got to do is type his name in. And if this goes through, I mean, to me, it's like, I don't want to hear another word. I mean, we just went from the NHL, the NHLPA, or the Edmonton Oilers. I don't want to hear another word about how mental health is important to us. I really don't, because I'm sitting here and I'm like, dude, this guy gets off on. I mean, he's got the psychology degree from McGill. I mean, he gets off on warfare on his players. Now, I also see the other aspect of like, well, this must have been okayed by Connor and Leon and whoever else. Sure, I'm assuming probably has. But at the same time, and I think this is kind of a black mark, in my opinion, against those guys, your Connors and Leons, if they did sign off on this. It's not the Connors and the Leons that have to worry about Mike Babcock.
Yes.
Mike Babcock's done some dumb things, but Mike Babcock's not an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Connor and Leon are going to get treated like gold. It's the third and fourth liners. It's the 5 to 7 defensemen. It's the rookies. It's the arena staff. It's the equipment staff. It's the front office. It's people like that are going to be abused. And then I heard Stauffer on his thing say, well, he's in a different place now and he's changed. I'm like, oh, he's changed.
Yeah.
Really?
How does
we tried this once before with Columbus, and he said this exact, I've changed, this and that. I've changed. I'm a new person. I realized, blah, blah, blah. He got hired July 1st, and he's got to be, unless there's a coach that passed away right after he got hired, he's got to be the only coach in NHL history to get canned before training camp starts, because he couldn't stop going through players' phones. And the Adam Fantilli one was the one. I don't know if people have heard about that, but that was the kind of one that the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. Going after a rookie, you got power on him. You got power on those kinds of people. He has no power over Connor and Leon. That's a whole nother animal. So anyways, it's to say I'm disappointed is probably putting it a little mildly, Jason.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Does that make sense?
Yeah. It totally makes sense. And the reason I want to get you on, Mike, was not, and I appreciate you coming on, because I'm sure there's times like, man, I don't want to discuss it again. And I get it. So I really respect you coming on, because I like what you said, because I addressed it as well. That I'm like, hey, if the leadership group signed off on it, that's great. But it's the depth guys, because I wrote an article today and I went through history, and I wrote an article 3 weeks ago. And obviously there's, Mike Commodore's, never been shy about his story, Mike Modano's story, Johan Franzen, Mitch Marner, all those guys that you said, either younger guys not proven or older guys near the end of their career. And in some cases, just a little thing like, why would you bench Mike Modano in the final 4th game of the year, knowing that he needed 4 games to get to 1,500, just so you could do it? Like, there's no other rhyme or reason. They were in first place. You can't tell me there's nothing else to it. So I found out other stories like from Peter Holland or Frankie Corrado, and, from his first day in the NHL. And because he got away with it, and I really like what you said there, was if you can't speak out of both sides of your mouth as a league, you can't claim that you care that much about mental health and then allow somebody who has a track record and documented, guys like yourself and others who will go on record, not say unnamed source, but go on record and tell the story. And then the league's still like, well, that's okay. And I think, to me, that's the biggest issue.
Yeah, that is a big issue. It's a terrible look. To me, it just makes things phony. I mean, with the NHL, like I can't sit there if they pass this through. I'm not going to. Yeah, you care about mental health until you don't. And if somebody wants to sign Mike Babcock because they think he's the answer in Edmonton, well, we'll just push it through and he can coach again. Which it's a privilege to play and to coach and be associated with the NHL. I think everybody deserves it. You know, if you're lucky enough to get there, if you're good enough to get there, like by all means. But if you're acting inappropriately and you're abusive like bad, I mean, he's a bully. That's what he is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't see why are we giving this guy, why are the Oilers? Now, I know the answer. Stan Bowman's going to sit there and he's going to be like, well, he answered all my questions and, you know, he's changed and he won a cup and he has it. Yeah, look, I've said it the entire time. And now it's been a long time since Mike Babcock has been behind the bench. But like Mike Babcock knows the game of hockey. I've never denied. I've said that publicly. I'm not going to sit here and lie to people. But I just don't think, like, is that really what you need? I just don't think so. And you know what? Who knows how it's going to work out? I could take guesses. You know, a frustrating thing I would say from my end is that at the end of the day, I'm sitting here and looking at this, and the Oilers are giving him a chance. And if I had to bet on it, I would say in a couple of years or within a year, and I could be wrong, but Connor's going to be gone. Babs is gone. Bowman's gone. And at the end of the day, Mike Babcock used the Edmonton Oilers to get himself back into the NHL, his gateway, which is disappointing.
Mike, I really appreciate it, man. How's the golf game?
Well, we're about to find out when I meet those scumbags from Fort Saskatchewan, Gamble Sands. Anybody, I've never been there yet. I don't know if people who haven't heard. It's like the Bandon Dunes, Sand Valley guy. Long story short, yeah. Brewster, Washington, 2.5 hours straight south of Penticton. We're on the tee at 4:00 on Sunday. It looks beautiful. Golf game isn't bad right now, but that can change with one swing, Jason.
Now,
that can change at any point.
When you say it's not bad, like what do you shoot around on average? Because I know you love the game. Like, you're an 80s guy? Are you a 70s guy? What do you shoot?
Yeah, I mean, my index right now is a 4.
Oh.
I would say I've been as low as a 0.5, but that was when I could chip. It's been 5 years of the Y word with the chipping, but it's starting to come back. Oh, that's a lonely feeling. I mean, I couldn't imagine getting this if you had to like actually play golf for a living. Okay. That would be a horrifying experience. But I would say a fair assessment of my game would be I'm probably not a very good 3, but I'm a dangerous 6. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I don't live in single digits, so I understand it. Okay. I'm jealous, but I'm not there.
Okay.
So, yeah. But
well,
that's good.
It's not all it lived up to be. I mean, I could shoot a 95 or a 75. I really don't know. Yeah. See, anything's possible.
Yeah. See, I can shoot like 100, or I can shoot at best maybe an 85. So that's kind of where it goes. 84 has been my best twice. Funny enough, I like the hardest course at Blackhawk, but for some reason I can't do it again. Ooh. It's disappointing. I love
the home of Al Prokop.
Oh, buddy, Al's a beauty. Yeah,
I love that place.
Love that place too.
Oh yeah, Al's a good dude. I got to get back up to Edmonton and play some golf.
Well, buddy, next time you're in town, let's. Buddy, I could auction that off for charity. Oh my God, that would go for a lot of money.
Let's get Al. Yeah, tea time at Blackhawk.
Oh yeah.
The new head coach of the Oilers,
Mike Babcock, Mike Commodore, Al Prokop, and Gregor. I'll just be there. I just want to see. So yeah, I'm in. I'll be the caddy. Oh, all right, God, that would be great.
Perfect.
Love it. Thanks, Mike. Yeah. We appreciate it, man. Enjoy the games, and I really appreciate you coming on.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Have a good day.
There you go. That is Mike Commodore. And I think it's important to have somebody who was on the receiving end of the bullying. And until Mike Babcock comes out, and I would gladly have him on my show. I have a lot of people texting, oh, Gregor, are you going to ask? Like, I don't think it's a hard question to ask someone. Do you still think it's acceptable in how you've done? And there's lots of examples. It's not just Mike Commodore. It's not a one-time thing. There's Troy Martinson. There's Frankie Corrado. There is Mitch Marner, Mike Modano, all for different reasons, right? There's not one thing that's specific other than it's a bully. And I like what he said. It's not the top guys you have to worry about. And that's what a bully does. They go after those who, you know what? You can replace the number 7 defenseman. You can replace the backup goalie. You can replace, heck, a third pair defenseman. A lot easier than you can replace your number 1 center, your number 1 defenseman. And everybody knows that. But I would love to know what gets him off in having to treat people that way? I think it's a fair question. Like, why do you think that's necessary? There's a laundry list of coaches who can be hard on players while being respectful. Right? You don't have to be demeaning and you don't have to bully. You don't have to. Sorry. It's like, and people need to stop making excuses for the behavior. Mike McDowell might be a great husband, might be a good father. That's irrelevant to who he has been as a head coach in the National Hockey League. Okay? That's just the truth. Let's get to the con man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Go Auto. Got a new eye on a vehicle? I will recommend the Honda Pilot. Been driving one now for a few months. It is easily the most spacious interior of any SUV I've ever had. If you're a tall person, man or woman, and you're just like, man, some of these, I don't feel like I got headspace, you'll get it. It's got all the bells and whistles, just more internal headspace. And it's not bigger. It's just inside. There's more space. Check it out, goauto.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final goes tonight from Vegas Knights and Kings just after 6 o'clock. Vegas in that series 2-1. Major League Baseball, the Blue Jays in action, taking on the Phillies once again. First pitch, 5:07. We'll join that game in progress immediately following the Jason Gregor Show. Elsewhere, you got the Mets and the Cards, Braves, White Sox, Rockies host the Cubs, Reds in San Diego, and the Brewers taking on the Athletics. The Riverhawks returning to action tonight, hosting Victoria. First pitch, 7:05 down at Remax Field. And some World Cup news. Jaden Nelson will replace injured midfielder Marcelo Flores on the Canadian roster. Flores was ruled out of the tournament after suffering a serious knee injury on May 30th. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by former NHLer Terry Ryan, Sirius XM's Dave McCarthy, and we'll get to the stats of the day. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
You may get up early, but more than likely, the team at GS Construction have already gotten up before you, grabbed a coffee, headed to the site, and started their day. So while Edmonton wakes up, GS crews are already underground, quietly keeping things moving, upgrading, and laying the new underground infrastructure for our growing city. If you're the kind of person who goes to sleep with their steel-toed boots on, GS Construction wants to hear from you. We're looking for a maintenance foreman, as well as a building and yard
Thanks for having me.
attendant.
Have a
Visit
good day.
gsconstruction.ca for more.
Oodle Noodle origins. In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade.
Okay, I was just wondering because to me, I mean, it seems kind of crazy that they wouldn't. I mean, they canned the guy for a reason. It wasn't working. They didn't think it was. And I think you said it, Jason. I think I saw a clip up. And in a way, it's a desperate organization. I think we can all agree that Connor McDavid is, for the last, what's he been there, 10, that he's the Gretzky of his era, incredibly successful. He's won every cup. He kind of put the organization on a little bit of a, and so it's panic time. And for whatever reason, I mean, the guy hasn't coached a game since what, 2020, 2019? He gets paid the whole time. The guy hasn't missed very many paychecks. I get, so, okay, he won a cup in 08. He's won a couple gold medals. He does have a resume. There's no question.
And the ever famous
there's been a lot go on since then, and I will say, from my point of view, it's a little bit frustrating. I've read some things online. You know, if this does end up going through, I mean, the guy's a documented bully. He's a documented predator. All you got to do is type his name in. And if this goes through, I mean, to me, it's like, I don't want to hear another word. I mean, we just went from the NHL, the NHLPA, or the Edmonton Oilers. I don't want to hear another word about how mental health is important.
Becoming debt-free
I really don't, because I'm sitting here and I'm like, this guy he gets off on, he's got the psychology degree from McGill, and he gets off on warfare on his players. Now, I also see the other aspect of like, well, this must have been okayed by Connor and Leon and whoever else. Sure, I'm assuming probably has, but at the same time, and I think this is kind of a black mark, in my opinion, against those guys, your Connors and Leons, if they did sign off on this. It's not the Connors and the Leons that have to worry about Mike Babcock. Mike Babcock's done some dumb things, but Mike Babcock's not an idiot. Connor and Leon are going to get treated like gold. It's the third and fourth liners. It's the 5 to 7 defensemen. It's the rookies. It's the arena staff.
Tired of
it's
the
the
rough ride?
equipment staff.
Alberta used to be a leader in highway planning and
It's people like
construction.
that
But years of
that are
neglect
going to
and
be
constant
abused.
maintenance are
And then I heard
you can
Hoffer
see it,
on
and
his
your
thing
vehicle
say,
is
well,
feeling it. Infrastructure can last for years with a little TLC, but when repairs are deferred, minor issues become major reconstruction. We need action and a reliable capital plan. Contact your MLA and demand stable infrastructure funding. Find out how at fixourroads.com.
A message from the Alberta Road Builders and Heavy Construction Association.
Portions of this hour brought to you by CanTorque. Made in Canada, made for Canada, or extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at CanTorque.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Snapped at 3 o'clock. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely day. The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where opportunities for casino, live dealer, instant sports, and more, including Lotto Max tonight, 10 mil and 10 prizes of 100,000 at PlayAlberta.ca. As we welcome to the show, Terry Ryan. TR, how you doing?
I'm not bad. Enjoying the late spring, early summer, however you want to classify it. How you doing?
I am. I'm doing pretty good. We just had Mike Commodore on the show, and I thought he had lots of good points about. And I loved his one response where he said, "Hey, I don't ever want to hear again that we care about mental health from the Oilers, the NHLPA, or the NHL." If Mike Babcock comes back in, because in his words, quote, this guy gets off on putting warfare on his players. And there's lots of documented lists. And I thought he was wise to point out, it's not the top players. It's the guys down the order, the guys who are kind of on eggshells, the guys who are easily replaceable. You would know, Terry, like there's lots of guys in the American League that can fill in spots in the bottom six in the NHL. Like the line is pretty thin between AHLers and NHLers. And those are the guys, if you look at all of the documented cases, those are the ones who have bore the brunt of his bullyingness.
Yeah, first of all, I was coached by Michel Therrien and had a similar experience to Kami, and I've been similar vocally. Like I said, I forgive him now, but we're not talking about him being hired. But if someone asked me, should Michel Therrien be hired to coach developing kids, adults, whatever you want to say, developing, I mean as players and people. I don't mean physically, but and I would just go, I would just go and say, no, absolutely not, based on my experience with Michel Therrien, who is known to be the similar. Now, with Mike Babcock, you've got more public examples, so you don't need to reach too far. With me, it was even with my book, I was like, I wanted to check it out with people. I also didn't want to ruin the guy's life. It was years later. Maybe he was sorry. I don't really know. With Mike Babcock, of course, you have public apologies of that, but then he's gone back on it. So there's a lot to unpack. But the finer points for me, I agree with Kami. Like I had no doubt when Michel Therrien moved up to Montreal that Mark Recchi wasn't going to see this. I figured that when he went over to Pittsburgh that Sidney Crosby probably wouldn't see the peak of his ignorance. But again, I'm talking about a different person. Now, of course, I didn't see Mike Babcock work up close and personal. Danny Cleary did. He turned his career around. What do I have? I know that. Now, I do know that. That's a fact. How it happened, I'm not sure. But it's also a fact that written, documented, verbal stories, but I mean, that have been out there. There's proof, in other words, that Mike Babcock, right into recent history, you might argue didn't learn his lesson. And when people like Mike Commodore speak, if you respect their adamance in the situation and their integrity, you have to believe they're telling the truth. And if that is, any part of those stories are true, especially commies, the Mike Modano stories that I've just read through folklore, through books or passed on stories, he was sitting at 1,499 games or something, maybe, I think, and they wouldn't give him the last one, or maybe my numbers are off, but it was similar to that. Those kinds of things remind me of Michel Therrien, and sit me for a full game, playing me for one shift with 30 seconds left just to prove a point before but I didn't do anything to deserve a punishment. It was just to prove a point. That was his style. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you want to go into mental health. I mean, I wouldn't even have thought ever to bring it up at the time. I do remember going to Wayne Hollywell, the sports psychologist with the Montreal Canadiens, multiple times. And most of what I had to do, I was a first-round pick with the Montreal Canadiens. There's enough in your basket that you got to deal with there and going and dealing with on the ice. And I remember being worried about everything. Am I going to choose the right sticks and the right skates and the right gloves? Because I'm out there. Every single practice is a tryout. But when I talked to Wayne, it was mostly about Michel Therrien. I remember being, how much time am I wasting on this guy? You call it mental health if you want, I suppose. But that's what it is. You're dealing with someone, any level of stress and adversity you got to face because of some jerk that's in your kitchen for no reason. And I just found a lot of my early hockey playing as a prospect, it was just wasted on dealing with an idiot that was in my ear about things that were completely irrelevant other than to his agenda as a coach. And I don't know. If it's me, the last thing I'll say, maybe I'm right. Again, hands-on, I don't. Mike Babcock coached against me. He was in Spokane. I don't remember hearing anybody complain. We beat him in Game 7. We must have played him 24 times that year. I mean it, with exhibition and everything else. I don't remember speaking to Mike Babcock. He was great to me. Shook my hand from Newfoundland. How you doing? And so in my experience, hands-on, I don't really have much. But with everything I said, if all these things are true, you want to believe the integrity of Frankie Corrado and Mike Commodore and all these people, then my question is, why? There's so many people out there. So Knobloch just got you in Game 7. He got you a flip over the glass. He got you a power play away from winning the Stanley Cup. So unless you win, unless you're all in, the only way this works out is if you win, and there's a lot of other teams, you can have the best players, and you can be in. There's so many things that go wrong. Why risk such a negative mark in the public? They'd say, well, screw it. I know, but there is something to be said about the fan base that's looking at this. And, I'm not saying you plan on losing. You want to win the cup, but you don't want to lose your integrity along with the cup. So for me, it's beyond all those people's stories and your opinion or my opinion on it. It's just that why would you go out there and do I don't know, you're bringing a totally unforced possible error into the situation that you don't need, and you can only increase the loudness of the scrutiny. If I'm in Tombstone, if I'm calling in Wyatt Earp, because you know what? We don't have a sheriff, but this guy's a criminal as much as everybody else, and you guys know it. But if we call him in, unless he solves the problem, and he did solve the problem, but unless that happens, then Wyatt Earp can make the town go down in flames, man. And I just don't know, unless a year from now we're looking at a Stanley Cup, then it's all for naught, and you might end up with extra egg on your face due to the whole the whole polarizing nature of the situation.
Well, and that's, to me, the fair question is it worth it? Because everyone says, well, if you win, well, first of all, to win is really hard. And you need lots of things to go your way. Oiler fans have seen it, right? You need health, right? And then sometimes, even when you are healthy, you know what? You still don't win. So, you lose a Game 7 by 1 goal. And that's hockey. So there's nothing that's going to guarantee it. I really believe the organization, after losing this season in round 1 to Anaheim, when they had their 4 centers injured. And I think my first article was don't overreact. And I feel like ever since the season ended, there's been lots of overreactions. There's lots of things. The Knobloch thing leaks out that they're trying to talk to other coaches before he's even fired. Not a good look. Then you got the Darnell Nurse thing leaking out. He's not happy about that. Now you got this. Like, it's just been an endless train of bad decisions in how they're going about their business. Like, you know what? You want to fire someone, fire them then. Don't drag your feet, because then you end up being embarrassed publicly.
And that's,
like,
again, that was unnecessary.
Yes, totally. Yeah, you could just let them go.
Unnecessary outlying things that you're bringing into the equation at a time that you don't need all that extra tension. That's the only thing. Now, I suppose it could, if you know, everything. But I remember mentioning this when you asked like a month ago. It wasn't Babcock, but it was like, you know, I would definitely have Connor and Leon in on that situation. And maybe they're absolutely adamant. And maybe they've spoke to every single player. But that's what I'm saying. Like, kind of like, who am I to say otherwise if they're in on it? And who am I to argue? But I'll agree with, I will at least bring up that with Kami, that during the year people come in and there's whoever's at the end of that possible revolving door, it could be trouble. Yeah. Like the 5th, 6th, 7th D, right? The forwards that are in and out, you might fall into a bit of a, he might not only use you for example, but because a lot of times with Michel Therrien, it was an example in front of everybody. Sometimes it was, but it was often him just calling me in and either calling me down to the dirt. Once he had a dart, he just lit it up, smoked it, and told me to get out. Stuff like that. It was to get into my head because I guess he would think in some weird world that it might have motivated me. And maybe it did. He got results out of me. I hated myself. But, you know, I talk about all this. I was Rookie of the Year in the American Hockey League or for my conference. I had 21 goals, 34 fights. You know, he got all that out of me, but the ways he did it, that I wanted to retire from hockey at 21. So he gets into your head. And, you know, again, I'm sure he wasn't doing that with Shane Corson and people like that. So I don't know. I find it really an odd decision.
Yeah.
You know, I really do. But my experience with Mike Babcock, I have no reason to say those other things other than I've heard the stories. And if the stories are true, then it would be, you're risking a lot of public scrutiny for no reason. And to bring that into the room on top of everything else might be a bit misguided. Who knows?
I like what you said there. Here's the thing. Like if someone said, wow, I don't believe Terry Ryan, you'd be like, are you kidding me? You think I'd make up these stories about Michel Therrien? Like, I don't think guys, like it's hard enough to get a player to say anything about it. But for players to come out and explain how, you know, like, man, I was vomiting and, you know, and now I had anxiety, like that. Players that just don't come out and say that very often at all. Most of them would prefer not to say it. Right?
Good. Sorry. Before I forget, Jason, I got to cut you off because that's true. This is the first time because it was subconscious or I'm saying it in public. It might be in one of those books, but I threw up before a lot of hockey games. It never, ever happened till that year because until that year, I felt I could go out and like fight or whatever, whenever I could just, you know, and in the Western League, it was not like I was a slouch. 20 odd every year, but it would be like jumping in and defending if somebody, I didn't know when I was going to do it, but he gave me like more than once the tap and told me to go fight. And then before games, I started to think, you know, oh my God, I might have Bialowas tonight. And I never, again, I know that's part of my job. I didn't have to do it. I'm not sitting here. Again, I wrote a book about this and I chose not to put that in. So it's not like I'm sitting here going, oh, poor me. But yes, that was a tactic of his. And it made me puke before games.
Yeah, exactly. I think people don't like to hear the truth sometimes because it's uncomfortable. That's the reality of it. And that's why I want to have calm discussions about it so people understand why when someone says, oh, it's just being hard on players. No, there's lots of coaches that are hard on you that respect you and they demand you play harder. Like there's nothing, and most players, some will thrive under that. They're like, hey, you know what? Yeah, you know what? The coach maybe annoys me some days because he's hard on me, but he still cares about me. And, it's like parenting. Like teenagers don't want you to parent them until you don't parent them. And then they're begging for you to parent them, right? Because if they feel wanted. And at least as a player, if the guy showed you respect and he was hard on you because, hey, Terry, I feel you can do more. You're capable of doing more. I'm not going to tap you on the shoulder to fight, but I think you're capable of doing more. And I think
yes, and here's the other thing. Well, you just sit with people care about you, and sometimes it's just their twisted method. Like, I know that Michel Therrien didn't really think I was a punk. I know he didn't, but he would call me that, right? Like, he might have liked me. I don't know. Like, those were methods of his. You know what I mean? Like, that was his strategy as a coach. And so the weird thing, like when Kami says something like that, like Michel Therrien needed, if these stories are true, Mike Babcock needs mental health work. You know what I mean? Like the very person guiding me had something inside that made him think that I would respond to that. Dude, you need to open up to people. You need some serious help, right? And then for you to be guiding the ship, now again, I'm just giving you my relatable experience. But if Michel Therrien thought that he was going to get something out of me by calling me into a meeting, not saying a word, lighting up a dart, smoking it, and telling me to get the F out, then something's wrong. Something's happened in his life, in his mind, for him to think that that's going to make me play better, right? But some people do. Sorry, I cut you off there.
No. So it's great stuff, buddy. TR, I appreciate it, man. I know we got to go quick, but we will chat with you on Thursday. Have yourself a great few days.
Enjoy the playoff game tonight. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Edmonton. Thank you, Jason. Talk soon.
There you go. That's Terry Ryan. Now we'll return. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
You see it? Fusion Promo Marketing can make it. Fusion makes high-quality, memorable promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. From vision to reality, get noticed and remembered. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Listen up, friends. Operation Pizza is a go at Papa John's. They're introducing new personal pizzas just in time to celebrate the premiere of Toy Story 5. These adventure-sized pies come in new, exciting flavors like Sheriff's Roundup, Space Ranger-oni, and Reach for the Pie. Or take your personal pizza to infinity and beyond by creating your own flavor just for you. Order 2 or more with Papa Pairings and get yours for only $9.99 each. New personal pizzas are ready for takeoff. See Disney and Pixar's Toy Story 5 in theaters June 19th.
Novo Blinds is your home ice advantage for window coverings. Edmonton's own custom manufacturer with over 300 5-star reviews from homeowners, builders, and commercial contractors. Book a free in-home consultation at novoblinds.ca.
Craving a dining experience that rises above the rest? Head to Summit Restaurant in the Silent Ice Center, just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Savor exceptional house-made pizza, delectable entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails in a stylish, modern atmosphere. Perfect for a casual meal or a special night out. Summit offers a refined experience where every bite and sip reflects our dedication to quality. Elevate your dining experience. Make Summit Restaurant your destination tonight.
Looking for a solid 4x4 that checks all the boxes? The 2026 Jeep Compass is in stock now at St. Albert Dodge, and this is a great value, starting from just $36,900. It's a Jeep, so you've got 4x4 capability, plus features like an 8.4-inch touchscreen, Apple CarPlay, active lane management, a Park View rear backup camera, and more. Over 30 in stock right now in just about every color you'd want. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
What a performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicks things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. We treat pain and injuries head to toe and some other issues that might surprise you, like incontinence, vertigo, neuropathy, and cognitive issues. We invest in technology, techniques, skills, and people that know how and what to fix. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
For 3 o'clock or 3:30 on a Tuesday afternoon, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Give a big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button for Declan over there. Lots of chatter today on the YouTube, so it's always good. We appreciate you listening, watching the show. As always, it's always brought to you by our main partner, PlayAlberta.ca, where tonight there's still, I'll say this, the line is 5.5 goals. They're averaging over 8.3 goals per game combined. They still think it's going to be low scoring. I'm disagreeing. Take the over for me tonight. Offense, baby. I've seen no reason to believe it's going to slow down. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. It's time to go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And just a heads up for you, the Collingwood McDonald's is renovating till June 23rd. You can still grab your faves at the Westgate McDonald's on 90th Avenue. The Collingwood one will be back on June 24th with a fresh new look. It's McDonald's. As we welcome in from Sirius XM, Dave A. McCarthy. Davey, how you doing, my man?
Oh, I'm doing good, Jason. Lots of news and chatter going on out your neck of the woods, eh?
Oh yeah, there's a fair amount. And I really enjoyed the conversation we had with Mike Commodore and Terry Ryan, two guys like Terry Ryan was a guy who was on the bullying end of Michelle Therrien as a head coach, and admitted that, man, I'd never thrown up before games until that year, and you know what, I had a good year, but I wanted to quit hockey afterwards. And I really like what Mike Commodore said at the end. And he said, hey, man, I've never denied that Mike Babcock's a good tactical coach, knows the game of hockey very well, but he's a bully. And if they hire him, he goes, I never want to hear from the NHL or the NHLPA or the Edmonton Oilers if they care about mental health. Because clearly they don't.
Yeah, look, I think what this says is there's a lot of desperation right now in Edmonton, that they're looking for a guy that can come in and immediately get the best out of the group that they have. And what I would say is that all experiences are personal, right? I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't believe what Mike Commodore says, or I don't believe what Terry says. I would be foolish to say that. I wasn't there. How the hell do I know? That's what they felt. What Mike Babcock's done as a coach, it's hard to argue with. The job he did in 2016-17 with the Toronto Maple Leafs, the year after they finished dead last in the league, to get that team into the playoffs, the way he handled Austin Matthews and brought him along, never played him against teams' top competition, played him like 16 to 17 minutes, even in the face of people saying, you got to play this guy 22 minutes. He was like, no, I'm playing him this much because it's good for him. He's not going to get overwhelmed. What he did for Zach Hyman, creating him into a great player, because he identified him from Florida, having scouted Dylan Larkin, the University of Michigan, when Zach was there, so he was familiar, and said, get me this guy, and then put him with Austin, and then kept him there, despite everyone saying you got to get including Austin himself, you got to get this guy off his line. He stuck with him. Look what Zach's turned into. And so Look, do I agree with all of the things that Mike Babcock is said to have done? No, that's not how I would do business. Do I also think he knows how to coach and get to the most out of a team quickly, if not quicker than some, if not all? My experience is yes. And so, look, I will say this about Mike. I don't think he's a stupid guy. Cocky, maybe, along those lines, sure. But I don't think he's stupid. And I think there's got to be something that bothers him with the way his career seemed to have come to an end. And that this is absolutely the last chance. And if you want to rewrite the book, and if you are brought on and you go down the same road again, as he has done in the past, that's led him to this position, that'd be extremely foolish. If he does that, can't help you. I would be, if I'm wrong, I'll apologize, but if he does do it again, I would be surprised, because I do think, as anyone would want, to be remembered well for what they have done. And right now, that's not the case. And so this could be an opportunity to correct that. And the guy is a good coach. Has he treated everyone well in the past? Probably not, right?
I don't even think it's probably, Dave. It's not.
It's not.
There's enough examples to not have to sugarcoat it. It's not probably not. It's guaranteed.
It's not. And so, yeah, I mean.
I'll say this, though. Chris Knobloch, when everyone says, oh, you know what, this guy can get the best out of his players. Chris Knobloch came in with no NHL head coaching experience. The Oilers, who were one of the worst teams at that time, came in over his 69 regular season games. They had the best record in the NHL, third most goals, fifth fewest goals against, and then they went to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final. You literally can't get much better than getting the most out of your players than that. And this guy had no experience.
Right.
My only thing is, why does NHL, it can only be this guy. You're telling me there's no other coaches on the planet who can get the most out of their players? Like, that's where I don't see the reason to have to go down this path to a guy who hasn't coached a game since 2019 because, oh, by the way, he couldn't even last the summer because he couldn't control his narcissistic behaviors. And then he hasn't won a playoff series since 2013, that he's the answer. I just don't understand why he's the answer.
So why do we think Edmonton has chosen to go down that road? I think, one, it's desperation. Two, I think they're probably looking at it and saying there was two inexperienced coaches in Jay Woodcroft and Chris Knobloch. And so, much like in sports, politics is the same way. You go with, one type of person for a period of time, and then the pendulum swings the other way, and, you got to change because that's not working anymore. And you go to this guy, and, it'll either work or it won't. And if it works, great. Then, no problem. If it doesn't work, well, it was a huge mistake to go down to the Mike Babcock road. We got to swing back the other way again. And so, I get, I'm not in favor of it or not in favor of it. I guess I would just say that it makes sense in the sense that you try a couple of inexperienced guys and didn't work out. And you're right. Like, Chris did well, but they didn't win. And so the tendency is, well, we got to get a guy with a little bit more experience and is a guy who has shown the ability to get the most out of a group quickly. Is it the right answer? You, me, no, none of us know. We do not know. And that's the thing, right? Is you place a gamble on any decision that you make in life that you hope it's the right one. If this does not work out well, yeah, there's going to be a lot of questions that have to be answered. Am I convinced that it absolutely will not work out well? No, I'm not. I think it does have a chance to work out well, not entirely because of Mike Babcock, but because Edmonton has a good team. And you're bringing in a guy that, look at Torts. It's just, he's kept it on the rails to an extent this year in Vegas since he's come on board. And so can Mike keep it on the rails to an extent that Chris lost the ability to do? Maybe not. Maybe it all blows up. But I can kind of understand why they want to go down this road also. I'm not saying it's going to work, but I also can kind of understand it.
Yeah. Thinking about, but you said, he gets the most out of his players. Toronto never won a playoff series with him.
No, but they weren't ready to win a playoff series then, Jay. Like, nobody expected them to make the playoffs 2016-17, the first year of, like, the Matthews era. Nobody. 0 people. And that team probably wasn't ready to make the playoffs.
What about by the third year?
Probably should have, and that's why he got fired, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if he necessarily got, like, I looked at the because I had some guy tell me, well, Toronto rebuilt. No, Toronto added in 1 year Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Brown, and Hyman. In 1 year, right?
Yeah.
They all brought him in at the same time. So your talent level, your team goes up significantly, even regardless of age. It goes up significantly. And yeah, maybe they didn't win, but was he a great coach, or did he just get gifted an infinitely better roster than the year before?
Right. So yes. Like, that was not your average finish dead last and next year come in type team. You had Nazem Kadri on that team, you had Tyler Bozak on that team, James Van Riemsdyk on that team, Morgan Riley on that team. Leo Komarov was an effective player at the time. Jake Gardner was on that team. So yeah, and then you dropped in those 5 young guys, and that made your team infinitely better. My argument was that during their tenure, when Marner was in Toronto, that 16-17 on paper might have been the best team. Now, they were too young. They weren't ready to win. And so that hurt. And the problem was with certainly Matthews, Marner, Nylander, there wasn't the same desire there to play a heavier game, a less risky game that you probably need to play in the playoffs in order to win. And so it became a budding of philosophies. And the weird thing is that in hindsight, a lot of what Mike Babcock said in the day that nobody was interested in listening to was a lot of what got said at the end of Sheldon Keefe's tenure, and resulted in them bringing in Craig Berube. And then it worked for a year last season, not this year before when they won the division. And then for whatever reason, for a number of different circumstances, it blew up this past season. It didn't work again. But like, you just wonder if timing had have been different, would it have worked better? Because I think there was more of an appetite on the part of Matthews and Nylander, and Marner, I guess, the last year at the end of Sheldon Keefe's tenure, say, look, we can run up and down the ice and we can score, but we're not going to win. We need to. So they brought in Craig Berube. It's a lot of what Mike Babcock was saying. They didn't want to hear it then. They wanted to hear it now. And so, like, timing is important as well. And I think Edmonton might be at the time now where they're all ready to hear it, because they know, like, if it doesn't work, all bets are off in terms of the future of this team. And so, again, I'm not advocating for or against, but I do get the thought process.
Well, we'll disagree on that wholeheartedly, which is always good. The Stanley Cup Finals has been nothing short of exciting so far. We don't know yet who's going to be starting in goal. Rod Brindamore is keeping it tight to the vest. Who do you think he goes with in goal tonight?
That is, like, generally I wish I was a head coach in the NHL, because how cool would that be, right? But this is one of those times where I'm glad I am not. This is such a difficult decision for Rod Brindamore and his goaltending coach to make right now. Freddie had been unbelievable through the first 3 rounds. Has he been at the same level during the Stanley Cup final? I think you could make the argument that probably not. I generally judge goaltenders by, do you make the stops that you need to make, and then can you mix in 1 or 2 extra at the appropriate time? And I think by and large, he's stopped the ones he's needed to stop, but he hasn't mixed in those 1 or 2 extras. Like the Mitch Marner breakaway the other day, like, need to stop there. That would have been like, give me a stop. Couldn't do it in the net. And so, look, Brandon Bussey played unbelievable when he came on in relief for a guy that hadn't played in like close to 2 months. It was really impressive play for the third period into overtime. What was he? 29 of 30. He was great. The goal that went in, How much do you fault him on that? It was a clunker. Could it have happened to anybody? Yeah, I guess. Man. You're asking a guy in Brandon Bussey now he's not young, but he's inexperienced, to come on and start a game where he hasn't started a game in over 2 months, where if you lose, you're down 3-1 in the Cup final. No pressure. Like, boy, oh boy. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think I'm a conservative guy by nature. I think I would probably go back to Freddie, but I would keep his leash short. So if you go down, if the first one is like, I might give him the hook right away. But I think I'd go back to Freddie here in Game 4 because I think he had played so well that he'd earned the right. But I don't know if I love the answer either. It's such a difficult decision in this case.
I would actually go with Bussey. I look at the history of Freddie Anderson. He looks like he's kind of tired. Like he's allowed 12 goals, man, on 65 shots in 3 games. Like it wasn't just a one-off game for him.
Carter Hart's been no good. Like his numbers are no better.
I agree. I don't discount it. But the difference is they didn't pull Carter Hart. So
it's true.
And his backup didn't have the season that Brandon Bussey did.
True.
Right. So that's why I'd consider it to raw. And I've always been a big believer in, they didn't run with Freddie Anderson all year long.
Mm-hmm.
So why not go to Brandon Bussey? It's kind of, that was a big factor of what got you there. And I really liked how he played. Now I understand the other side of it is what you said. There's a lot of, that's a tough spot to put a guy in. But at the same time, I'll tell you right now, Brandon Bussey, if you asked him, hey man, you want to go in? He would be like frothing at the mouth to be given the opportunity to get in there and go do it. So it'll be an interesting one to watch. And quickly, Dave, Dylan Larkin, do you think his 3-team request becomes bigger?
I mean, are we shocked to have heard those 3 teams? No kidding. Florida, Minnesota. You don't say, eh? How about that? Like, everybody wants to go there. So he kind of has to. Otherwise, like this, I'll say it this way. Steve Yzerman might have an opportunity to recurry some favor in the market in Detroit if he says, you know what, that's cool. Thanks for letting me know. And I'll see you in September, because I'm not just moving you because you want to move on. You got 5 years left. Now, do I agree with everything that Steve Yzerman has done in Detroit? I don't think he's done the greatest job. I really don't. And if his name was something other than Steve Yzerman, I no longer think he would be in this position to make this decision. So all he needs to worry about right now is making the best decision for the Detroit Red Wings. Now, this could get acrimonious, right? Like if Dylan Larkin shows up in a pissy mood and all that, as a lot of managers have told me, if I've got a guy that doesn't want to be here, I want to move them out as quickly as possible because I don't want that infecting the room. And so there's that as well. But who was the 3rd team? I'm blanking on it. Florida, Vegas, of course.
Yeah.
Shocking, right? So, thanks. You've really given me some options to work with here. If I'm Steve, I might hold a press conference and say that. Now, you'll turn the market against your captain, and that's uncomfortable. But I honestly get the feeling, and I'm told there's no love lost between Steve and Dylan, quite honestly. So, go for broke, I guess, if you're Steve, and try to get everybody on your side and say, look at this guy, signed him, they made him captain, paid him a lot of money, gave him the deal he wanted. He hasn't been that good either. And so now he wants check, please. Oh, no, I'm doing what I think's best for the Detroit Red Wings. He's got a chance to do that. And I would think Dylan needs to extend that list a little bit. I get he's going to try and squeeze, but in reality, this is not like Mitch Marner. This is not like Matthew Tkachuk. This is not like Quinn Hughes, where they were either unrestricted free agents or a year away. He's got 5 years left. This is totally different circumstance. So, yeah, I don't blame Dylan either. You can request a trade, but you got that kind of term left and you give a guy 3 options, you may not get what you want right away. And if you really want to move, probably have to expand that list a bit.
Davey, great stuff. We'll talk to you on the brunch on Sunday. Have an awesome day.
See you, buddy.
It's Dave A. McCarthy from SiriusXM. Quick break. We'll return to Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
You don't just need property services, you need problems handled. HireGood provides cleanup, debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. We resolve real problems for businesses while creating real impact because our team is built on second chances and they show up every day ready to prove it. Visit hiregood.ca or call and mention Jason Gregor for a first-time discount. HireGood. Stable jobs create stable lives.
It doesn't start on game day. It starts before kickoff, before the first snap. It starts with you locking in your season seats. This is Edmonton Elks football. The only way to experience it is being there for every hit, catch, and touchdown. The Elks home opener kicks off June 20th against Montreal. Your season seats are your way in. Get yours now at goelks.com/season seats. Edmonton Elks. Our city, our year.
Say hello to your new favorite drinks. Introducing new McCafe Refreshers. Icy cool, undeniably refreshing, and available in 3 flavors. Strawberry watermelon, mango pineapple, and blackberry passion fruit. Only at McDonald's.
Hey, hon, I'm getting expressions and images to frame my hockey card collection in the man cave.
Perfect. I'll come with you and bring our wedding photos.
For sports memorabilia and family treasures, think Expressions and Images, your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
Just in time for the big game, score big savings at the Brick. Save up to $1,300 off sofas, up to 25% off bedroom and dining packages, plus save up to 40% on select mattresses. And buy more, save more, up to $1,000 off select major appliances. Watch Team Canada score big on a big screen TV, up to 50% off open box electronics. See store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
Mr. Rooter buries evidence in the desert.
I didn't mean to do it. I was forced into it. Yeah, forced. But now, no one will ever know. You've done well, Mr. Rooter. You did something awful, but you've covered your tracks. It's done. The last transcript that shows I did a semester of electrician school.
Uncover evidence of the proudest plumber, Mr. Rooter.
Don't let equipment failure stop you cold. At AWS Welding in Nisku, our factory-trained service techs are on hand for all welding equipment repairs. We're a fully warranted center for Miller, Lincoln, and ESAB. And we service all makes and models. Proper, regular service extends the life of your gear and keeps it running at peak capacity. Don't wait for a breakdown. Book your service appointment today at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
Hey there, I'm in the Fountain Tire sidecar, making a list of the things I'm doing this spring. 1. Saving you money, with up to 20% off select tires until June 13th. 2. Water skiing, tricky in a sidecar, but fun. And 3. Saving you more money, with mail-in rebates of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires and $50 off a $150 service with the purchase of 4 select tires. Oh, that's 4 things. Oh well, restrictions apply. Book online at fountaintire.com. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. The goal of every one of the thousands of hair restoration procedures I've performed is a full, natural-looking head of hair. I work directly with my patients for the consultation, the procedure, and the follow-up, so we can achieve the best results possible. When people see what we accomplish, I don't want them to think, "Wow, great hair transplant." I want them to think,
Wow, great hair.
Go to drvanceelliott.com and contact us today.
The funny thing about hitting the road to leave it all behind is you don't really want to leave it all behind. So Sherwood Honda has the SUV with plenty of room for all you want with you. Think Honda CR-V, the Honda Pilot, or maybe even a Ridgeline truck. With this kind of lineup, you can go where you want and bring all you want with you. You sure would make it easy to leave your cares behind by starting at Sherwood Honda.
Portions of this hour brought to you by EWEL. Helping you finish your electrical project is their goal. From bot lights 2 electrical panels. The gear you need is at ewell.ca or in person at one of their Edmonton area locations. ewell.ca, your partners in power.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
Three 57, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley. Man, those first 2 hours are flying by. It's a Gregor Show presented by playalberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province at playalberta.ca. As it's time to get to our stats of the day, brought to you by All Star Construction, largest contractor in their space in land development, power, and gas installation. That is All Star Construction. And a few stats of the day to get to. Of course, yesterday, Peter Laviolette got hired by the Los Angeles Kings. And he will enter this season with 846 wins. That is ranked 7th all time. He will pass Ken Hitchcock once he gets his 4th win of the season. That would give him 850. Hitch has 849. Now, it might be a little bit challenging for him to move up higher because, well, Scotty Bowman's way up there, 2,000. But you look at the active coaches, Joel Quenneville at 1,012, Paul Maurice at 956, Lindy Ruff at 950. So Maurice would need 44 wins to become the 3rd NHL head coach at 1,000 regular season wins. Could he do it next year? Maybe. Potentially. 44 doesn't seem unrealistic, especially with an 84-game season. And you know what? Shootouts, overtime, 44 wins. Probably a pretty decent chance, I would think, for Florida. Maybe. Not great, though. Like, not a lock. Not a guarantee. Because if I'm looking at it, how many teams last year finished the season with 44 wins? Montreal, Tampa, Buffalo, Carolina, Boston. So 6 in the East and only 3 in the West. So we'll see where they come. But that's where he could go next season. Now, we talk a lot about records, like some records that are hard to break. Like, which one will never be broken? And a lot that comes up, Wayne Gretzky, 2,857 points, not going to be broken. Or his assist record, where he had, what does he have? 1,960 some assists. Hard to break. But when I think of records that are made to be broken, honestly, this one I hadn't heard of very much. But when I look at it, I'm like, damn, is anybody going to break this record? So on the weekend, Denny Hamlin won at Michigan International Speedway. It's his 2nd consecutive victory of the year, and it's the 63rd of his career. Pretty good. He's now tied for 9th all-time with Kyle Busch, so he's in the top 10. You have Dale Earnhardt at 76, Cale Yarborough at 83, same with Jimmy Johnson. Then Darryl Waltrip's at 84, Bobby Allison's at 85, Jeff Gordon's at 93, David Pearson's at 105. He's 2nd. And then you go all the way to Richard Petty at 200. He is basically double everybody else. Like, when we talk records that are never going to be broken, how's anybody breaking that record? Hamlin's one of the best drivers. He's at 63. He's not even 33% of the way there. Like, that's a wild stat, man, that I don't think gets enough talk about when we say records that won't be broken. The Richard Petty one, man, I'm putting that in the Gretzky point category. Like, he is well ahead of everybody else. I do not see that one being broken anytime soon. It would, I would love to see it, but it seems rather unlikely. when you start to look at where everybody else is. You're ninth. Oh, I feel, hey man, I'm pretty close. And could he get to third? Maybe. He still needs 20 more wins. Like that in itself is going to be different. So, Seth Jarvis, Shea Theodore, each has scored an overtime winner in the Stanley Cup final this series. And every game has seemingly got closer. Game 1 was a 1-goal deficit, 5-4 in regulation. Game 2, 4-3 in overtime. Game 3, 5-4 in double overtime. Are we going to get triple overtime tonight? But only 3 players in NHL history have scored 2 overtime goals in one Stanley Cup final. Don Raleigh did it in 1950 with the Rangers. Johnny LeClair did it in 1993 with the Montreal Canadiens. And I'm sure some of you know the other answer. Do you know it? Do you know it? Leon Draisaitl in 2025 had 2 OT winners in the same series. So watch to see if Theodore or Jarvis can join that group. Also, Taylor Hall could tie a franchise record tonight if he can get his 10th point on the road. Could tie Ron Francis and Corey Stillman for the franchise record for the Carolina Hurricanes, which doesn't seem like a great record, really, when you think about it. But anyway, it's an interesting one. And lastly, today, it happened earlier today, the return of one of the GOATs, if you're a fan of the GOATs, at the Queen's Club Championship. Serena Williams returned for her first professional tennis match since 2022. And guess who she played with? The young Canadian phenom, currently number 9 in the world, Victoria Mboko. So, is Serena? She said that she's back mainly because she would love to see her, give her kids the opportunity to see her play. But man, how awesome would that be if you're Mboko, man? Are you kidding me? You have like Serena Williams comes back in her first match, you're a partner. Woo-hoo. That would be quite the thrill. It's our stats of the day brought to you by All-Star Construction. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Hire Good. For professional property services you can feel good about, get Hire Good. Site cleanup, debris removal, seasonal maintenance, and more. Check out hiregood.ca. Stable jobs create stable lives.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals goes tonight from Vegas. Knights and Canes just after 6 o'clock. Vegas in that series 2-1 in the majors. Blue Jays in action hosting the Phillies just after 5 o'clock. We'll join that game in progress following the Jason Gregor Show at 6 o'clock on our AM feed only. Elsewhere, Orioles host the Mariners. Red Sox get the Rays, Yankees, and Guardians. White Sox host the Braves, Cubbies, and Rockies. Angels hosting the Astros, and the Brewers taking on the Athletics. Down at Remax Field, Riverhawks back in town, taking on Victoria. First pitch, 7:05. And some news from the World Cup. Jaden Nelson will replace injured midfielder Marcelo Flores on the Canadian roster. Coming up in Hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. Oilers Nation's Tyler Yaremchuk in the last 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 air conditioning install company for slushy lovers. Because while a slushy keeps you cool as an 80s song for a moment, AC from Legacy keeps you cold as ice all season long. A permanent full-body slushy sensation keeping you cold as ice with no payments and no interest for 1 year. Keeping you cool without the brain freeze. That's how you build a legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Cheering on Canada, Mexico, Australia, France, England, Brazil, Germany, Spain, and the rest of the world at the Druid Irish Pub.
Your World Cup headquarters.
Wear your colors, cheer on your team, and enjoy $6.50 Heineken every game.
Plus, your chance to win a ton of World Cup merch,
including hoodies, jerseys, soccer balls, and more.
The Druid Irish Pub, your World Cup headquarters.
Bringing Edmonton together, one soccer game at a time.
The Druid Irish Pub.
Cheer with us in the Mercer Building across from Rogers Place and Ice District.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit, no credit? We got you. Text check to 780-777-7777. That's check to 780-all-7. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto.
It's Cherry
Love
Rock
what
now.
you love with payments
you,
that
Jason.
make sense.
Jason Gregor isn't just a sports guy. He's a community
Between
builder
AHL
with over
Terry
3
and
million
they can-
raised for local charities. And his Gregor Foundation, he's making a difference on and off the air. Check out Gregor weekday afternoons on Sports 1440.
Did you know there are actually 3 seasons we experience in June? Spring, summer, and construction season. And while roads may be narrowed and detours are everywhere, GS construction crews are on site every day doing the work because the city doesn't stop, and neither do we. As we build and upgrade infrastructure, life continues around us. That's why we never lose sight of what matters most, making sure everyone, including our team, returns home safely at the end of the day. For more on what we do, visit gsconstruction.ca.
The Riverhawks are back. This week brings a Theater Kid Takeover, a cottage-themed Pride Night, and Sunday's summertime Santa toy drive for Santa's Anonymous. Don't miss the party at the ballpark. Get tickets at gohawks.ca.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of CanTorque. CanTorque has always been a forward-thinking company, but now that we've turned 25, I can't help but take a minute to take a look back. Thank you to everyone that's been with us along the way.
Good to go. With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. MortgagesToGo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say, good to go.
Ready to upgrade your ride this spring? Come on down to the Golf Cart People. They're a family-owned and operated business that's been serving the community since '97. Whether you're looking for a brand new or quality pre-owned cart, a rental for a special event, they do that too. The Golf Cart People have a huge selection of parts and accessories, and their expert service team is here to keep you rolling. The Golf Cart People, your one-stop shop for everything golf cart. Visit golfcartpeople.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Get the Puck Drop Special at Papa John's. A large 2-topping pizza and 8-piece wings for only $28.99 with promo code PuckDrop at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.410, Jason Gregor, Connor Hanley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca as we roll through on a Tuesday afternoon. Hope you are having a lovely day as the NHL Stanley Cup Finals continue tonight. We got NBA Spurs continue the Road Warrior Final. Road teams 3-0 in the NBA, and Knicks will try to get back on track tomorrow. We got the Jays taking on the Phillies again tonight. Good news, Cease is back on the bump for the Jays. And, of course, lots to talk about the Edmonton Oilers and their potential next coach. Will it happen? Will it won't? We'll get to all that. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where always you can check out the Jason Gregor Show odds boost special. We got a little CFL action for you, of course. And we've got some NHL Stanley Cup Final tonight, as well as We went to the Milwaukee game. I don't know if you saw it or not yesterday because they're playing in Vegas, and it's it's a smaller diamond, but it was absolute chaos last night in Vegas. Milwaukee won 15-14 in 12 innings. There was 11 home runs, 34 hits, and 5 lead changes, and it was wild, man. So, do I think tonight's a good night to call the over in that one, Connor? Yes, I do, because I'm just sorry. Like there was a few balls that would have been fly balls in every other barn, and they're flying out of the diamond last night. So entertaining if you like it. And I'm assuming some of the players for the Brewers in Oakland be like, hey, can pad some stats here right now. So should be good. Now let's get to the oil report brought to you by Go Auto. If you're looking for a vehicle, no better place to shop. GoAuto.ca. They have 15,000 vehicles for you to choose from. Find your ride. GoAuto.ca. As Derek Van Diest from NHLer.com joins us. DVD, how you doing?
Good, Jason. How you doing today,
buddy? I am doing excellent. How's the weather in Vegas?
I believe right now it is plus 36, and it's a dry heat. So unlike last year in Florida where it was plus 36 and there was like humid, it felt like you were in a sauna last year in Florida. It's here, it feels like you're just standing in front of an oven. Like it's hot, but there's no wind. It's just 36 is not bad compared to last week where it was like 40, 42, 43. So I think 36 is bearable, but we're spending most of our time inside, so that's not bad.
All right. Now, Rod Brindamore hasn't said who is going to start in goal tonight. What's your gut tell you from your watch the morning skate?
Well, there was no morning skate because there's a 5 o'clock start here. Rod Brindamore just had an availability about an hour ago, and he wouldn't reveal his starter. And my gut feeling is when you don't reveal your starter, it's you're making a change in net. And it's a significant change because Brandon Busty is a right-handed. He catches right-handed, so it's a different look that you're going to give the Vegas Golden Knights. So maybe that's why he wants the Golden Knights to not know exactly what they're going to be facing tonight. Golden Knights had an optional skate today this morning. I remember I talked to a couple of guys about that. Isn't it different when you're looking at a goaltender that catches right or catches left? The funny thing was Mitch Marner in last game, he got a penalty shot. He didn't realize they had changed goalies until he's going in on the penalty shot and the goalie caught right. So I thought that was pretty funny that you play 4 minutes of a period and have no idea that the other team made a goalie change, and you just find out as you're going in on a breakaway, you're like, wait a minute, that guy's catching with the other hand. So I talked to a lot of guys from the Vegas Golden, a few guys from Vegas Golden Knights. They say it doesn't make a difference. I had a great conversation with Taylor Hall. He says in practice it does make a bit of a difference because it's different spots, different openings, and different places. So I think, if you know Taylor, he's really honest and he'll tell you great stories. And I think the Vegas guys are being a little poor, but I think it is different when you're going up against a guy that catches right as opposed to catches left. So I think that might be the reason why Rod Brindamore is keeping this close to the vest. I think they should go back with Frederik Andersen. Apparently, a lot of people say, well, it's 6 of one, half dozen of another. The Carolina Hurricanes don't seem to care. They'll play in front of everyone because they said both guys played all year. So it'll be interesting to see, as Jay Woodcroft used to say, what comes out of the gate.
Yeah, it will be interesting. I could make the argument both ways, but I'd go with Bussy. I really like how he played. Anderson's allowed 12 goals on 65 shots in the playoffs, and they haven't been all bad goals by any stretch of imagination. But Bussy came in and made some huge saves when they needed it, and right now both teams are giving up a lot of not a lot of shots, Derek, but a lot of quality chances.
Yeah, and that's what's been surprising about this series. Like the word chaos has been thrown around a lot so far in his first 3 games because it's not a structured game. It's not structured series, and no one seems to know what's going to happen from 1 minute to another. John Tortorella is really good. The other day he was talking about you can't control 60 minutes. There's going to be ebbs and flows, and you're going to have to survive when you're on your heels, and then you have to take advantage of when you get them on their heels. But you're right. There's been a lot of breakaways, a lot of 2-on-1s, a lot of odd man rushes. I was kind of joking with some people today. Like you look at these teams are so well coached and so well structured, and you look like a guy like Mark Stone who has the mobility of a refrigerator, and look at how many times he's been wide open and he's gone in on breakaways. So there's obviously these guys that are kind of stacked up. They're going back and forth, but it's really weird. It hasn't been a particularly structured series. And I think part of that, though, Jason, has to do is the goaltenders aren't playing particularly well, and so that opens things up when you got to go chase the game, and as obviously Carolina had to do the other night.
Derek Van Diest joins us. What about Vegas? What are they saying as far as, that third period collapse and, what they've given up in this series? Because, maybe both teams are just happy that we're going to play, exchange chances, which I love from an entertainment standpoint. I'm just curious, what was Vegas's message heading into game 4?
Yeah, they weren't obviously happy with the collapses. And again, John Tortorella said, when Mitch Marner did not score on that penalty shot to make it 5-0, he was a little concerned. And we're like, really? Come on, you're up 4-0. But it happened so quickly. It happened 3 goals in a span of 39 seconds. I was joking with it. We were on our way down from the media elevator, which takes about a minute and a half, 2 minutes to go down. And we got down, and suddenly the score is 4-3. And we're like, what the heck just happened? We were in the elevator for 39 seconds, and they came back and scored 3 goals. But I think Vegas is such a experienced team that they've seen everything. They've gone through everything. They had 11 guys that have won the Stanley Cup. So I don't think you can rattle them, and I don't think they were rattled. I think many other teams might have been rattled by something like that, giving up that lead, giving up a 4-goal lead in the third period. I had Grant Fuhr on his speed dial. I was ready to give him a call about the miracle in Manchester had Carolina pulled that game out. But I just think the experience of Vegas, they know that there's going to be ebbs and flows, and this is not their first radio. So I think that really comes in and shows in moments like that when things aren't always going to go your way, when it looks like everything's kind of chaotic around you. I think they're kind of embracing that chaos, and they feel that they can handle any situation that comes their way.
Derek Van Diest joins us. DVD, from Vegas and everybody around, what's your thoughts on the story? It looks like, the Oilers pending approval from the NHLPA are going to hire Mike Babcock.
Yeah, it's funny because we have all the big NHL reporters here. So I've kind of been going around the table and picking people's brains and asking people, what do you think? What do you think? And I think some of the older guys, some of the veteran journalists say, hey, listen, Babcock at one time was the best coach in the NHL. And then you get some of the younger guys going, listen, you can't treat your players the way you did 20 years ago. You can't be the way with your players. So I think there's a bit mixed bag here. I'm of the opinion. I said I've known Mike Babcock since he was coaching in Spokane. So I've known him for a long, long time. I remember sitting in his office, in the Spokane Chiefs office. We had a long discussion about hockey. But again, I'm not a player, so I don't know how he treated guys. I read the stories of how he treats guys. I'm not a fan of a guy that's a manipulator like that. I'm not a fan that tries to motivate you by fear. I'm not a fan that kind of keeps you off balance. And I know that was an old coaching tactic. That's the way it used to be. You look at Scotty Bowman. You heard some of the horror stories that in his day. That's the way he treated some players. I just don't think you have to evolve. You can't be that way. And this would be a third or fourth chance for Babcock. Like, does the Leopard really change his stripes? Is he going to come in here? Is he going to hold McDavid and Draisaitl accountable? I don't think so. Those guys are still going to want to do what they do because once you lose those two guys, you've essentially lost your job. So I don't know. I don't know if that's the best guy for it. Like, they're really, to me, this is a desperate move. It's a situation where they're like, okay, we couldn't get the guy we wanted. The guy we wanted was Cassidy. He's not going to be available. And I don't know. To me, this is a short-term fix. Maybe they're just looking for next season. I don't think it's going to work out. And you go back to when he was in Columbus, and what did John Davidson say? We made a mistake. We made a mistake hiring him. And I don't want Stan Bowman to be doing the same thing, saying we made a mistake hiring Mike Babcock. If he's changed, he's changed. But I don't know. You change your style, you change your approach, or is that just the way you are, and that's just the way you do it? So it's going to be very interesting to see. But obviously the Oilers are all on board. They got the big media spin going on there, saying that everyone's in approval of this. We'll see what happens, and we'll see what kind of Mike Babcock we get, if that truly is what happens with the Edmonton Oilers.
Anything by being in Vegas you're hearing as far as Bruce Cassidy? Do you think he gets his get out of jail free card when the Stanley Cup final is over?
I think he does, but I think they would rather him go outside of the division. Now, I've been talking to some people, and I don't know what that contract says. And I know Bill Daly kind of referenced it the other day. He said, hey, coaches have outs in their contract. If he doesn't have an out with his contract, then that's with the contract. So maybe he has a no-compete clause in his contract that says, hey, if it doesn't work out here, you can't go to a team in your division. You can't go to one of our challengers. I don't know how it works. But I think once it's over and done with, and the thing is, it can drag on. They could say, we'll wait till the Cup final. We'll wait till after the parade. We'll wait till after the draft. We'll wait till after free agency. They can drag this out for quite a long time. And I think this is something that Bruce Cassidy is going to have to work out with Kelly McCrimmon. They're going to have to find a solution. But to me, the solution is getting a job outside of the division. I don't know. There's not many left, obviously. You're looking at that Toronto job. I don't think Vegas would have a problem going to Toronto. They'd see him twice a year. But, yeah, I don't know the nature of that contract. And I think that's the one thing. And like I said, Bill Taylor referenced that. Other coaches have outs in their contracts for whatever reason. This one doesn't have an out.
DVD, as always, appreciate your time. Enjoy the heat. Enjoy Game 4 tonight. And we'll talk to you again next week.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on, Jim.
There you go. That's Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. 833-401-1440. We got a lot of texts to get to. We'll get to some of those coming up later on this hour. Also, we will hear from Tyler Yaremchuk, Speck, Tater, Killam, and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Okay, new strategy. I'll just live in the freezer till October. It's spacious in here. It's spacious.
There's a better way to survive the coming AC season. Pro Solutions is your one-call solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. We offer convenient financing options and fast appointments so you can enjoy your entire home, not just the freezer.
Now I can leave the frozen peas where they belong.
Book now at ProSolutionsInc.ca.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Noodle, 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 noodle. Noodle, 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 noodle.
Troll low down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Cougar Creek Golf Resort is only minutes from Edmonton, so it's incredibly easy to fit in the perfect summer game anytime. Enjoy our championship-length golf course, surrounded by trees and rolling terrain. Book a tee time today. Go to CougarCreekGolf.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Rent it, run it, get it serviced. Japa Equipment Rentals has you covered from their shop to your job site. Alberta's construction pros have counted on Japa for rentals and service since 1972. JapaMachinery.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$427. We got a lot of texts, 833-401-1440. We'll get Tyler Ramchuk in a second. Hey, Gregor, I'm just curious. You've been very vocal about your view on Mike Babcock. What it would take for you to like him? Well, I don't have to like Mike Babcock, Steve, to be honest. Mike Babcock probably doesn't care if I like him. Why does it matter? My job isn't about liking people or not liking people. I feel it's my responsibility to voice my opinion. People can disagree with me. That's their right. Nothing wrong with that. But the reason bullies get to be bullies is because too many people are quiet and silent about it. Now, he might come into Edmonton. He might be on his best behavior. I sure hope he would. And maybe he's finally clued in that you can be a successful coach without being a deplorable human being. You can do both. Great. But that's not going to erase what he's done in the past, especially when he's never apologized for it. I've never seen any remorse in any interview that suggests he feels he crossed the line. Right? Did you see his response to Johan Franzen? Well, sorry he feels that way. What? I'm sorry he feels that way? The guy's like a nervous wreck the remainder of his life. Oh, but sorry he felt that way. Right? You had teammates, call him a fat pig repeatedly and tell him his teammates hate him and he should quit. Oh, what a great person. We should just, you know what? Well, he deserves another chance. Why? That's my question. Why? He has a chance. He's living his life. He got paid all his money. He can be a dad. He can be a husband. He can be a grandfather. Great. He just can't be he doesn't just get to automatically get to do everything he wants. I don't see why that is so outlandish. And I always ask people, all of those who want to, so if he did that to your kid or your son or daughter, would you be okay with it? Suddenly your opinion's going to change. So he didn't do it to anybody that I know personally, although I guess I know Mike Commodore now, and I've talked to other players about it, but I wouldn't claim that we're like super tight friends. But for me, I think it would be dishonest of me to pretend that this isn't a big deal and to act like, well, you know what? It's in the past. It'll be fine. It might be. But everybody thought he improved and he had learned from his mistakes the last time. And then he didn't. He didn't even make it to a game. So I would assume this time he'll probably at least make it to a game. He won't ask players for their own private information. But he's never been able to stop himself before. Maybe he does. And if he does, good for him. But that doesn't erase all the damage he's done. And especially when he's never owned up to it, I have a hard time with it. So, long answer, I don't care. I don't have to like him at all. That doesn't impact my ability to do my job. If the Oilers' defensive system's good, I can talk about their defensive structure being good. I've never once said Mike Babcock can't coach the X and O's. Not once. It's Mike Babcock, the human, as a coach, as a person, as a bully. He's been a bully. So until he shows he's not a bully, then he's a bully. And we shouldn't be scared to call out bullies. Now, let's talk lots more hockey and baseball. Tyler Remchuk from Oilersnation and Daily Faceoff joins us. Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing great. If you hear a lot of thumping behind me, that would be the musical stylings of T-Pain playing a free concert for a couple thousand people out there. But yeah, it's loud. It's preventing me from taking a pregame nap, but Vegas is good.
Is that like a roller coaster behind you in the background?
Yeah, that's the roller coaster from the New York. So again, if you hear a loud noise, it's the roller coaster that runs every 5 minutes. It's just the
Have you
city
been
that
on
never
it?
sleeps. No, I haven't been on it.
Can you ride roller coasters?
That's like the only thing I can do. I can't do a lot of the rides where you're like spinning and all of that, but like a good roller coaster, I'm in on that. It's expensive though.
Like, how expensive is it to ride the roller coaster?
I think it's like $50 to ride that roller coaster. Everything in Vegas is expensive. I'll look it up to make sure, but I remember the first time I like
50 bones. Holy cow, that thing is better have a few loop-de-loops at least. Come on. Wow.
I mean,
Yikes. And it's
everything here is
hot.
expensive, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, $25. I was wrong. $25 to ride it.
Steal now. It's only 25 for one ride. Holy cow. And,
25 US.
yeah, exactly. That's like $50 Canadian right now. I know it's not, but it's close. So if you had to pick which car Rod Brindamore would put on the tracks in between the pipes tonight, who's he going with?
I got a sneaking suspicion it's Brandon Bussey. I obviously heard you having DVD on. I think there's a case for it to be Bussey kind of no matter what. Freddie Anderson hasn't been all that good in these Stanley Cup finals. You're down 2-1. Your season's not on the line, but I think this is a Carolina team that could use a bit of a boost, and it's clear they got a bit of a boost in that third period. So I thought Bussey played well enough to get the start, and the other thing that not a lot of people are talking about is that Freddie Anderson, like, okay, they said maintenance day on Monday, and everyone just kind of took Carolina's word for it. Sunday was a full day off, and then he needed a maintenance day on Monday. That just doesn't, the math doesn't add up for me on that. That's like fair. You gave him a full day off. He might have a head injury, and you're telling me now after, and also he didn't come back to the bench. I don't know if they brought this up on the broadcast. He didn't come back to the bench in third period, overtime, or double overtime. So this is a guy who has been tucked away, not skating, not facing shots, not even good enough to be on the bench. I don't think Freddie Anderson's healthy enough. So we'll see if he's even backing up tonight, honestly.
Wow, interesting. All right, little because that is valid to think that he hasn't been on the ice since that game, and I know that he got ran over, right? Like there's no debate about that. I know Jeff Merrick when we were on the pod, he was talking like if there was ever a time for concussion spotter, that might have been the time to look at it. But either way, Bussey came in, he played pretty well, got a little bit unlucky on the overtime winning goal. Both teams, everyone said, okay, including myself, I thought, okay, game one will be high scoring, and then these teams will kind of lock it down a little bit. Not the case. And I'm here for it. I love the fact that it is absolute chaos. There's chance after chance after chance. And I really see no reason why it's suddenly going to switch.
Yeah, I'm with you. And the fact it's been like these wild, like it hasn't been quite like fire wagon hockey, like back and forth, but it's like 5 minutes where Vegas dominates, or 10 minutes in the case of game 3, where it's like, oh my God, the Golden Knights are steamrolling them. But in the first period, it was Carolina. Like Vegas only had 2 shots. I think the shots were 8-2 once again. In the first period, I was like, all right, Carolina snapped into shape. They got their A game. And it's these swings of like 5 to 10 minutes, not even shift to shift, where it's like dominant. Then it just flips the other way, even in overtime. Like, again, when a goalie makes a normal save that isn't like the flashy glove hand windmill, everyone kind of just forgets about it and goes, oh, he stopped the puck. Good for him. But there was a chance Taylor Hall had in front where he could have dusted it off for 8 seconds and picked a corner on Carter Hart, and Hart just stood his ground and made the stop. And it's like Carolina had some quality looks in that overtime where they could have ended that game. So it's been unpredictable. It's been back and forth, but in the sense of these wild swings. And it's been a great Stanley Cup final. As someone who was pessimistic heading into it, I thought we'd get a lot of like, not sexy, not flashy 3-1, 2-1 games. This has already greatly exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, it's been very good. And I thought Carolina was the better team in the first overtime period and just couldn't score. And, that it's funny. You talk about the swings, 3 goals in 39 seconds. Like, are you kidding me? Like that building must have went like you're up 4-0 and they just missed a penalty shot. And everyone's like, yeah, we're going to be winning. And then it was like goal. Like, I will give them credit, though. After the third goal, the fans were like, we got to do something. And they started the Go Vegas Go chant, like literally right after the third goal. So I give their fans, I don't know was it started by the in-house announcer or if it was just by the fans. I don't know that. But I heard the chant. I'm like, you know what? That's a pretty good move by the fans.
So actually, it's dead quiet after they score, and I had a chance to go in my first ever John Tortorella press conference. What a treat that was! A big media milestone for me. But he was asked why he didn't call a timeout, and he said, when you call a timeout, Then the Jumbotron gets going and they start playing that noise earlier and the crowd gets loud. And he says, to get a message across to your team, he goes, you have to scream at them to get over that noise. And Tortorella said in that moment, he did not want his team to think he was yelling at them. He didn't want to come off as screamy and panicky. So that's actually why he said he didn't take a timeout, is because he wanted to take advantage of that little bit of silence, because he knew eventually the crowd would get going and he didn't want to have to be screaming over it. So a cool little bit of insight and why he didn't want to take a timeout.
Makes a lot of sense. The news yesterday in Edmonton, obviously, Mike Babcock potentially being the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. Sounds like they want him, and it's just a matter of does the NHLPA sign off on it, which that in itself is a red flag for me. Like, wait a sec. Hiring a guy that the NHLPA has to sign off on coming in, like maybe that's a little bit of a red flag. I don't know. But where do you come out on this? And do you think there's any chance the NHL or the NHLPA would squash this?
From the people I've spoken to here in Vegas, it doesn't sound like the NHL or the PA is going to squash this. The fact that there's Oilers players who are on board with this thing, I think will mean the PA kind of says like, all right, like you guys are, you know what you're signing up for to an extent. My thing with Babcock, and I enjoyed reading through all the quotes and different stories you had in your piece up at Oilers Nation. I'm all for people getting second chances. And if Mike Babcock would have went away and, came back and said, hey, you know what? The way I did that wasn't good. And I apologize to people. If he was remorseful for how he acted and how he handled some of these situations, I'd be sitting there and saying, you know what? Maybe he can turn over a new leaf. Maybe he can do what John Tortorella has been doing here in Vegas, where he feels like a totally changed man most of the time. I'd be all for it if that was the case. But I read some of those quotes about how, Babcock in the past talked about the Marner thing and the Franzen thing, and there's no remorse there. There's not a guy who wants to sit there and learn and say, you know what, maybe I could do things differently, or, oh, someone felt a certain way. Maybe that's not an effective way to coach players anymore, but he doesn't seem to want that. And listen, I'm around the U Sports world. I did play-by-play for the Golden Bears for 9 years. Mike Babcock was around that University of Saskatchewan Huskies team. I heard stories. I mean, I'm not going to repeat them to out people, but I heard stories, and Mike Babcock behind the scenes at the University of Saskatchewan, he wasn't good. And I'm not talking about his relationship with players. It's support staff. It's people like that at the university level where he's not even the head coach. So this is not a guy who has changed. But if you think you need a hard ass and this is the route you want to go, what I would say to the players who were on the Zoom call with him and the management who's in charge of hiring him, a year from now, we better not hear that, oh, players want out or this or that, whatever. You know what you're getting into. This is not a guy who has shown any amount of remorse or any willingness to change his ways. Maybe that'll come out in the next little bit, but I haven't gotten that sense from any of his actions over the last 6 years.
Yeah. And that to me is the one thing. I'm all for second opportunities. He did get a second chance in Columbus and didn't even get out of the summer. So, and still then didn't feel that he did anything overly wrong. And obviously Adam Fantilli and many others disagreed with him. And so did and that to me, Tyler, is probably the one story that I find interesting in all of this was, remember when it came out and, broke Biz Nasty Bokert on his podcast. And then Columbus came out and actually got Boone Jenner to say, no, that's not the case. It wasn't like that. Then the NHLPA did an investigation and suddenly Mike Babcock's out. So what did they, and they never really, what did they find in the investigation? That's the part to me that I'm very interested about, because that's never come out on, what happened there, because Columbus is like, no, this isn't a big deal. Boone Jenner, the captain, said it wasn't. And then the league looks into it. The NHLPA looks into it and was like, no, this isn't acceptable. He's out. And I think that people forget that. This wasn't one organization. This was actually people overruled the Columbus organization and said, and the NHLPA pushed hard for it and said, we can't have you.
So and I don't want to sit on here and go all like conspiracy theory, but that leads me to believe that when they dug up what they dug up in the investigation, Mike Babcock said, you know what? Don't make that public. I'll just step aside and resign, because this is totally, again, it's one of those things that's tanked his reputation. Not that he had a great one before, but how could you sit there for 6 years with this as like a black mark on your, pretty historic coaching career in the hockey world, not just winning the cup, but like internationally as well? Like, how could you sit there with this as a black mark and not be like, you know what? I want to set the record straight. I want the truth out there that this wasn't as bad as people are saying it is. Like, no, when there's all this silence and everyone's hush-hush about it, that leads me to believe it's worse than what we think it is. So again, it's just the fact that there seems to be no remorse here from the guy leads me to believe he thinks the way he handles things is the right way, and it leads me to believe that's how he's going to operate in Edmonton.
Yeah. So we'll see what comes to it. I wouldn't be shocked if it was a Friday announcement, because you can't be tonight and it can't be Thursday. You're not allowed to make big announcements on game day. And also know what else is on Friday? Canada's first ever home soil World Cup game. And if you announce the coach on that day, maybe it gets overlooked a little bit. So timing wise, I could see it. The other thing is, though, a lot of people are like, man, they waited this long for Bruce Cassidy. Why wouldn't they wait just to see if they could talk to him?
Why wouldn't you wait till the end of the Stanley Cup final? Because now what's going to happen, and boy, Vegas could continue to pile on the bad PR for Edmonton. What if Vegas at the end of the Cup final, when, Mike Babcock's officially signed on in Edmonton, what if they go, oh yeah, it was our plan all along, haha. And Kelly McCrimmon, he doesn't need to be telling the truth, but he could make the Oilers look really bad if a week from now he's got a fresh Stanley Cup ring on his finger and he says, Bruce can go wherever he pleases. Oh, but LA and Edmonton already hired their guys. Oh, we're waiting until the end of the playoffs. Sorry.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me. There are some people that are like, I'm not sure they're going to do it to Edmonton. And I could actually understand that, right? Like, it is a competitive world. Edmonton and Vegas are clearly the two best teams in the Western Conference for the last 4 years. The numbers don't lie. And you know what? It's been 5 years in a row, actually, them coming out of the Pacific Division, right? Edmonton in 22 and 24 and 25, and Vegas in 23 and 26. I'm like, I don't think Anaheim's that close just yet. I know they beat an Edmonton team that had 4 of their centers hurt, so I'd like to see it maybe on a different timeline. But I could see why Vegas says, you know what, we'll hold off, because they're not paying him anyway until the season begins. So they don't have that quote, payment, unless he has a bonus in his contract, which I'm not sure a lot of coaches do. So I could see why they might just say, nah, you know what, we won't let him interview in Edmonton. People fill it up, and then if all of a sudden someone gets fired later on the summer and they want to ask, sure, we'll give you permission. I could totally see that happen. Did we lose Ty? I think we lost Ty. He's frozen up there, but there you go. Perfect timing. We needed to go anyway. That's Tyler Ramchuk here live from Vegas. We'll return. We got 5 questions to get to. We got a lot of texts as well. We're going to get to many of those when we return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. If you're looking for a little fun tonight, check out the Jason Gregor Show odds boost specials at PlayAlberta.ca.
Are new McCafe crafted sodas just drinks or something more? Like Sprite Berry Bliss, Creamy Strawberry Coke, and Orange Dream. All swirled with fizzy flavor and topped with silky cold foam. Only at McDonald's. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
Cheering on Canada, Mexico, Australia, France, England, Brazil, Germany, Spain, and the rest of the world at the Druid Irish Pub.
Your World Cup headquarters.
Wear your colors, cheer on your team, and enjoy $6.50 Heineken every game.
Plus, your chance to win a ton of World Cup merch,
including hoodies, jerseys, soccer balls, and more.
The Druid Irish Pub, your World Cup headquarters.
Bringing Edmonton together, one soccer game at a time.
The Druid Irish Pub.
Cheer with us in the Mercer Building across from Rogers Place and Ice District.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Just in time for the big game. Score big savings at the Brick. Save up to $1,300 off sofas, up to 25% off bedroom and dining packages, plus save up to 40% on select mattresses. And buy more, save more. Up to $1,000 off select major appliances. Watch Team Canada score big on a big screen TV, up to 50% off open box electronics. See in-store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
From the locker room to your radio, Sports 1440 is Edmonton's sports leader. Real talk, big personalities, and your texts. It's interactive. It's fun. It's where Edmonton talks sports. Sports 1440.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth, fast, easy, and totally free At Go Auto, we're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks, ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Think a quality golf cart is out of your budget? Think again. At the Golf Cart People, we have a fantastic selection of fully inspected, pre-owned carts starting at just $4,500. Choose from gas, electric, or lithium-ion power to fit your lifestyle. And the best part, every used cart comes with a 1-year warranty for total peace of mind. Why wait? Get the cart you've always wanted today. Visit the Golf Cart People. Find out more at golfcartpeople.com.
For decades, the pioneer spirit of Alberta has been exemplified in the chuck wagon racing legacy of the Dorchester family. And today, you can experience it every time you hit the links. Dorchester Ranch Golf Course is in top mid-season form. Enjoy the longer days on this historic 18-hole course near Pigeon Lake. Stunning views, reasonably priced, and only 40 minutes from Edmonton on newly paved roads. Play the course built with pioneer spirit and family pride. Dorchester Ranch Golf Course. Book your tee time today at dorchestergolf.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by 01 Hockeyology, Edmonton's home for elite hockey development, skating analysis, performance assessments, and year-round training at West Edmonton Mall. Elite hockey development at 01.ca. That's ZERONE.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.448, we continue on a Tuesday afternoon. Wow, interesting. So Gabriel Landeskog was just announced that he is the recipient of the Marc Messier Leadership Award, which, of course, is presented to the player who exemplifies great leadership qualities to his team on and off the ice during the regular season and who plays a leading role in the community in growing the game of hockey. And no doubt about that. And then also, they just announced that he's the winner of the Bill Masterton Trophy for the NHL player who best exemplifies the quality of perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to hockey. And it's hard to argue with that when you consider coming back from 2 full seasons off, or was it even 3? I think it might have been 3 years off in between just to rehab. Clearly, he came back for the love of the game. Showed some perseverance doing it. That's a rarity. So congratulations. I got to look that up, Cons. Is he the first player to win the Messier? Well, I know the Messier hasn't been around that long, but to win the Messier and the Masterton in the same season, he might be. So dual award winner for sure. Let's get to 5 questions now, brought to you by The Brick, where you can score big savings right now. 20% off individual dining and bedroom items, 20% off bedroom and dining packages, and you can select 40% off select mattresses at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1. Let's assume it happens like people think Mike Babcock is hired by the Oilers. What sort of qualities do you think would be important for the rest of his coaching staff?
That's a good question. Okay, well, the number one thing would be they need an assistant who's willing to keep him in check. Because I think at times that's been the issue. There isn't someone to say, hey, wait a sec. You're not talking to a guy like that. Okay, you've crossed the line. Go count to 10. right? It's not going to happen. So I think that would be the most important thing, because to date, he has yet to show an ability to be able to control himself. So he's going to need someone who's got enough strength and enough courage to say, not happening. Just focus on X and O's.
I'm with you. I think it was LeBrun who mentioned DJ Smith potentially if it were to happen. I don't mean this as a joke, but
but he was there in Toronto when he did the Marner thing, and he did the thing to the trainer. So
I'm not saying that's a good one, but that was just being related to him. I don't mean this as a joke, but like you almost need HR. Like, hey guys, I have this idea. Yeah, let's run it through an assistant coach who has some common sense and see what he thinks. You know, like you can't do the things you've been doing in the past. Someone has to step in and stop you. So I totally agree. You need someone who has the cojones to say, no, we're not doing that. You can't be doing that sort of thing. We'll see what happens. We had Mark Kilm on the show earlier today, just on topic with the Elks over the weekend. Was there any player that, I'll say kind of in air quotes, surprised you, maybe stood out to you that you weren't necessarily expecting it to happen?
Go ahead.
For me, I didn't expect him to have the game that he had. I'd say TJ Luther to be targeted 6 times, catch 5 for 65 yards, had the big play downfield where, at first thought, it didn't, at first glance, maybe it didn't look like the best catch, but then when you see that it came loose and he adjusted to catch the ball, I don't know how many people were expecting TJ Luther to get the second most amount of targets and also tie for the most receptions. So I will say wide out 88, TJ Luther.
Yeah, that's a good one. I was probably maybe a bit surprised that Brandon O'Leary Orange, jumped ahead of Mathis and became kind of the main guy in front of him. Now, I think Mathis might get in at some point, but, O'Leary Orange, I think he caught all 4 balls that were passed his way. Now, none of them were for long. They were all little dump passes, so it's not a great look if you're looking at receiving yards for targets. But hey, if I have a guy who catches the ball, that's key, right? Julian Grant's the only guy who I thought had a few balls that maybe he'd like back. But the other guy, honestly, and this is kind of the fact that Ford didn't come down with that interception, that still shocked me. Like, he's got pretty good hands, man. So that was the surprise play of the game for me.
Yeah, that's a very fair one. And big time player. You need a guy to make that play. Question number 3 for you. Knowing what you know about the Blue Jays, right now, they're one game back in the wild card. Are they going to be a playoff team this year?
Well, you consider all the injuries they've had and the fact that Vladdy Guerrero has about as much power as I did in slow pitch right now. It's not great. So the fact that they're still in it and they're a game back and their pitching staff's being decimated by injury. Now they're getting Cease back today. Scherzer is going. So that's some good news. I would say, yeah, I still think they can make the playoffs because I think the organization is going to be very aggressive, and I think they will add at the deadline.
Yeah, I'm with you. Getting bodies back. Hopefully, Vlad getting the game going. He's batting leadoff tonight as the DH. Maybe that'll spark him just a little bit. But I think for sure, knowing what they have, making some additions at the deadline, I think they will get into the postseason. Question number 4. We're just a few days away from the World Cup getting going. Outside of Canada, any games in the first round you have circled?
Japan, Netherlands would probably be one that will be on the radar for me, for sure. And I would go with I just like watching Portugal, so whoever they play. Like I think their first game's against like the Congo.
Yeah.
I think so, but so it's not like I'm watching it for that, but I'm more so watching for their team. I like watching Portugal.
Yeah, Canada's going to be sweet when it happens, but I'm also going to love England, Croatia. I think the 2 good teams that are going to need to start things off with a big game. And Argentina, Portugal, just, Messi, Ronaldo. Those are the 2 big guys still going at it. Thrilled to see those guys play. So, yeah, those would be the games circled for me. Final question for you. It's National Fishing and Boating Week. Are you a fan of fishing? And if you could do so anywhere, where would it be?
Oh, well, I'm not a huge fisherman, but I would say I've talked to people who have done it. I would really like to go salmon fishing in BC. You have the big guide and they take you out and you're on the boat and you're out there for quite a few hours, my understanding, which is kind of relaxing. I love it. And then you're all geared up But then to catch some of these big salmon cons, like I've seen pictures of it from friends of mine that've gone on these trips. I'm like, you know what? I think I wouldn't mind. And I love salmon. Right? Like I love eating it. So I'm going to say salmon fishing in BC.
Yeah, I mean, I used to like when I was a kid, just sitting at the dock doing so. And to be totally honest with you, that's probably the way I would like it the most. I have no desire to go deep sea fishing or anything like that. Maybe off the dock or in a canoe, just sitting out in the lake relaxing. If I was going to go really crazy, have you ever heard of noodling? When you catch the catfish with your fist?
Yeah.
Popular in the southern states.
I've heard that term for different reasons, but
yeah,
maybe not in the fishing sense. No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, if you're ever able to experience it, it might be something kind of cool.
Did you do it?
No, of course not. It's pretty nasty. I don't particularly want to stick my fist down a fish's throat, but if I'm ever down in Louisiana, maybe I'll give it a go.
Yeah. Well, I'm up for trying different things, right? Like there's, I don't know if I ever want to go crocodile hunting though. Like there's certain things, no, but fishing is one. Like I've also seen like when you go out in the ocean in Florida, you go like for deep ocean fishing for marlins and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's also like, man, you sit back in that chair and everything. Like it's a big deal. So, I'd be intrigued to see how it went. I hear it can be quite the workout in itself. Like you're talking 45 minutes to bring in a fish. That's a commitment.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big commitment. So it's one of those things but I also wonder if I'm past the point in my life where I'm like, maybe there's other things I do that I don't know if that's on the top of the list, right? Like salmon fishing might be the peak for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd go more. So I'll have to see. I've never been a huge fisher. Like I fished as kids, we went to Ontario a few times and BC and Alberta, and I liked fishing. I was never like a diehard, and I'll be honest, like, man, like I can barely tie my shoelaces. Like I just tie the line and oh God, I used to I'd be losing my marbles on it. So that's my problem. Patience in fishing. Not great.
What's your bait?
Well, we just
worms?
we had like, the worms. Like I've never fished with live bait. So, mine are just always lures.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah. And I mean, I don't even remember what we used. We used to go down to a place called Curlew Lake in Washington and do fishing there. I don't even know what we used. I guess just regular bait that would probably get from the stores down there. Never live bait. No, we didn't get into that one.
All right. I had the, like everybody kind of has the favorite lure. I had like the 5 diamond, right? It's a classic. No,
sounds like it.
Oh yeah, it's great. When we come back, Mark Spector will join us. Also, Mark Killam, Cam Tate on a busy Tuesday edition of the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Here is the Con Man Sports 1440 update brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. You can lease a Chevy Track for only $80 a week right now. Absolutely everything is on sale at Northgate GM to get you road trip ready. Northgate GM, your road trip headquarters, northgategm.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game 4 tonight, Hurricanes and Golden Knights from Las Vegas. Puck drop just after 6 o'clock. Vegas leading that series 2-1. And Colorado Avalanche captain Gabriel Landeskog, the recipient of the Bill Masterson Memorial Trophy awarded to the NHL player who best exemplifies the qualities of perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to hockey. He also today won the Mark Messier NHL Leadership Award. Major League Baseball tonight, Jays are in action, taking on the Phillies. First pitch, 5:07. Bill Cease gets the call. We'll have that one for you here on Sports 1440, starting at 6 o'clock on our AM feed. Right now, Orioles lead the Mariners 1-0 in the second. Marlins and Diamondbacks tied at 1 apiece, while the Dodgers trail the Pirates 2-0 in the second. Later on tonight, Mets host the Guardians, Braves in Chicago taking on the White Sox. You got the Royals and the Rangers, Cubbies, Rockies, Padres host the Reds, Nationals taking on the Giants, and the Athletics up against the Brewers from Las Vegas. In the city, Riverhawks back in town, hosting Victoria tonight. First pitch, 7:05. And some World Cup news. Jaden Nelson will replace injured midfielder Marcelo Flores on the Canadian roster. Flores was ruled out of the tournament after suffering a serious knee injury on May 30th. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and hear Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Listen up, friends. Operation Pizza is a go at Papa John's. They're introducing new personal pizzas just in time to celebrate the premiere of Toy Story 5. These adventure-sized pies come in new exciting flavors like Sheriff's Roundup, Space Rangeroni, and Reach for the Pie. Or take your personal pizza to infinity and beyond by creating your own flavor just for you. Order 2 or more with Papa Pairings and get yours for only $9.99 each. New personal pizzas are ready for takeoff. See Disney and Pixar's Toy Story 5 in theaters June 19th.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Tee up at the 2026 Golf-a-thon presented by Popeye Supplements June 19th at Rundle Park, supporting the University Hospital Foundation. Golf all day long for $250, including a cart and food. GoTrackSocialClub.com.
Hot coffee, hotter takes, and the sports stories that matter. Check out Kevin Carriers weekday mornings from 7 to 11 on Edmonton's Sports Leader, Sports 1440. Be part of the conversation. 833-401-1440.
Say hello to your new favorite drinks. Introducing new McCafe Refreshers. Icy cool, undeniably refreshing, and available in 3 flavors. Strawberry watermelon, mango pineapple, and blackberry passion fruit. Only at McDonald's.
Just in time for the big game, score big savings at the Brick. Save up to $1,300 off sofas, up to 25% off bedroom and dining packages, plus save up to 40% on select mattresses. And buy more, save more, up to $1,000 off select major appliances. Watch Team Canada score big on a big screen TV, up to 50% off open box electronics. See store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers, and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned, over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
Photographers, start your cameras. Vision Credit Union's annual photo contest is back. We're asking you to show us the people, places, and moments that made you glad you chose this rural life. Maybe it's the view from your farm, a walk down Main Street, neighbors pitching in, a weekend at the rodeo, or a sunset down a back road. Share your photo to show why life in rural Alberta is a choice worth celebrating. Enter and vote at whatsyourshare.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by CanTorque. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at CanTorque.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We continue. Tuesday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Sports 1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a fantastic Tuesday afternoon. Big plans for tonight. Maybe you're watching a little NHL. Because even if you're not a fan of the Vegas Golden Knights or a fan of Carolina, man, if you're a fan of entertaining hockey, this series has had it all, baby. Everything. Lead changes, penalty shots, breakaway after breakaway, some huge hits. Lead changes has been fantastic hockey to watch from an entertainment perspective. And, selfishly, I want Carolina to win. Let's make it a best of 3, baby. Let's do it. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440, where you can text us. Also, the Gregor Show is brought to you by, as always, playalberta.ca, where you can get in the game and check out the Jason Gregor Show Odds Boost Special. We got a little NHL action for you tonight and a little fun parlay in that Milwaukee-Oakland game, which has been playing in Vegas. And they're playing at their AAA stadium, and it's just not that big. Like, it was home run city last night, and could see it happening again tonight. So check that out at playalberta.ca. Hey, Dylan Cease is on the bump right now for the Blue Jays. No mustache. Woo. We'll see. God, he looks 5 years younger, Connor Halley. It's crazy. He looks totally different. Like, he had that thick stash. Like, he looks different, man. Looks like a little baby-faced kid, even though he's already got the Connor Halley, 2-day-old. He probably started growing his beard this morning. But without the mustache, he looks way younger.
I mean, it's inevitable. That's just how it happens. Wait till Stuart Skinner one day shaves that mustache off. You're going to be like, oh, who's this kid?
God, I wonder when the last time, old Stu didn't have a mustache. It'd be hilarious. I wonder if our next guest ever had a mustache as we get to the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialists, and they are hiring. You want to work for a fantastic company who loves their sports, great benefits? Go to gsconstruction.ca and look up careers. As Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, if I'm not mistaken, you did used to have a mustache in your early days, did you not? Back in at the Journal and at the U of A, the Gateway?
Never wore just a mustache and beard.
Oh, okay.
Mustache and beard. Never wore just the mustache.
Never had a
goatee here and there, but
all right. Did you ever dye your
mustache? Never could grow I could never grow like the Stu Skinner big long mustache. I would have, but it never got any length at all, man. It was just, I'm not a mustache guy. What can I say?
All right.
Handsome face like this, Gregor.
You don't want to cover it up with a caterpillar. Okay. I get it. Understand it.
That's right. Why would you deny all the women out there? Good.
Oh, yeah. Shalka's like, all of them one singular. So, hey, Kip, the graduation for your daughter, big deal for that. So congratulations on that. So I haven't talked to you.
Thank you.
What is your thoughts on the pursuit of Babcock?
Well, pursuit. It sounds like it's pretty much done here. For one, that's, this is I wouldn't say it's player driven, but it's certainly player approved. I really feel like it sounds like Stan Bowman, talked to his players, and I would say it to you, they probably said, we got to talk to this guy. And they talked to him and came back. I was told today that the players came back and said, we want this guy. We need someone to lead us here. That's what they told Stan Bowman. They want to be led. They want to be coached. So, I mean, there's two separate conversations, and I'm sure we're going to get into the guy that we're talking about here. Who is the man? And that's a long conversation. But in terms of the coach, this is a team. We've watched that dressing room, Jay. We've watched 97 and 29 probably have too much control over who plays where and with whom and how much and blah, blah, blah. I think everybody wants out of that scene. They want a coach to come in and run a show. And that's what Babcock will do if he gets hired.
Yeah, maybe. Run a show for sure. How many guys will he run over is really the question. Right? Because that's...
Yeah, I mean, this is a... Yep.
There's two different stuff. Like, you
go ahead.
You can't say on one hand, oh yeah, great tactician will be a good coach. Sure. No one's, even like Mike Commodore, who can't stand him, said, hey, I've never once said he's not a good technical coach. Doesn't know the game. One's arguing that. It's the other side, and it's the bully. And that's what he is. And there's all these stories. I wrote it again today after researching it and guys on record, Spec. And that's what that's to me why this is the Jeff Goldblum quote, right? Your management team were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should. And really, that's what it comes down to. Yeah, no one debates if he's a good coach, but at what cost? At what and how? No one can come out there and say, "Oh yeah, he's learned from it." Based on what? Because he told you he's learned from it. What has he actually done to show he's learned from it? Because he didn't show it the last time in Columbus after 2 months. So how's it going to be different? Maybe it'll be different. And I hope for his sake, he's finally woken up and realized that being an absolute donkey up to players isn't the way to coach. You don't need that way to be successful. There's a laundry list of coaches that can be hard on players and be respectful at the same time. It doesn't have to be, I got to be a complete ass hat to my players. But because he's never done it, and really from his opening training camp in the NHL, he has decided to coach with fear and bullying. That's been his MO. So I can't just blindly sit here and just assume that it's all going to be roses and everything is going to be great.
No, and I would add to that and say, let's say that he stripped that whole area, that whole, leveled onion skin off of his coaching resume. Let's say he took away all those characteristics that you're speaking about. Can he still do what he wants to do? Is he still the same guy, or is he a completely different guy? And now you've hired someone who's not the guy you think you're hiring. Is that an integral part of Mike Babcock's entire operating system, to be a dick to certain players on the team, right? Can he operate without doing that? If you take that away from him, can he still do what he wants to do? I don't know. That's a good question, man. It's a good question. Like if I'm a columnist and there's a certain amount of columns that one writes, there's humor, there's, sometimes you're critical. Sometimes you write a real nice piece about how good someone is. If you told me, okay, Spec, we're giving you jobs as a columnist, but you can't criticize anyone, I'd say, well, hang on.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I can do this job.
Right.
No. So let's see. I don't know what the answer to that question is. I don't know what it is. So let's find that out. Well, I think we're going to find that out. The other thing I'd say is there's veteran players on this team. Personally, I would say to you, if you think that some guy, Mike Babcock, name the coach, is going to walk in here and treat Matthias Ekholm like he's some child, that ain't going to happen, right? Now, he may, I want to see how he treats the young guys on the team, the guys that are trying to make the team, the Ike Howards, the Savoys, but you're not walking up to Zach Hyman and treating him like he's 18 years old.
No, but as Mike Commodore said, he goes, Spec, those aren't the guys I'm worried about. Mike Babcock's not an idiot. Yeah. He's never went after those guys. He goes after the depth players. He goes out and hearing the support staff. That's the part that really bothers me here. You're a head coach. Like usually head coaches, the guys and gals that you treat like salt of the earth are the people behind the scenes, right? The arena staff and everything else. Like usually, you're treating them like gold. Because they're not like they're big fans of your team. They don't have any integral part as far as your success goes. And then to do what he did to the
not making any money.
Yes,
sure.
To do what he did to the trainers in Toronto, by basically doing the same thing to Marner that he did to the trainers with the red, yellow, and green placards, and then put it on the board and said, "This is what the trainers think of you guys." Like it's just how he could ever think that was a good way to motivate is just, and that's the thing I guess that I have a hard time with, Spec. Is I've never once, and hey, I'd love the opportunity. Let's have a conversation about explain to me why you thought this was the right way to do it. Because you can't tell me that you weren't trying to bully people and make everybody uncomfortable. And almost like, you know what, some people believe that if you have chaos and uncomfortableness, that's better. And I'm not a big believer.
No, I'm not either. The entire American government strategy has been to flood the zone with chaos, right? Yeah. There's chaos every day coming out of that presidency, and that's a group of highly intelligent people who think that that's a good thing to do. I think they're wrong.
Yeah.
And I think chaos is not the answer.
Yes. Sadly, we see that in our own province.
On a micro level, in a coach's in a dressing room, chaos isn't good. There's no, there's certain times there's certain things that have to happen. And a tough coach, that's fine. It can't be a country club, all those things, whatever. Guys get paid big money. If they have to do some stuff once in a while they don't want to do, well, that's life, pal. We all do. But bullying young players and equipment staff and things like that, I'll tell you what, like it's the thing I'd say, Jay, is Mike Babcock's 63 years old, right? 63 years old. If you're this guy up until now, do you change? Can you change?
Oh, that's the question, right? Like, do you just naturally revert back to what you know? Change is hard for all of us for lots of different things, right? Ask anybody who got married. You got to learn to change some certain things if you want to stay married. That's just the reality of it. Hopefully you don't have to give up your kind of who you are, but sometimes it's like, oh, geez, I guess I can't sleep with the window open anymore. Small little sacrifices and different things. And so in the grand scheme, that's maybe not as big of a deal.
I
But
used to play golf every Sunday.
Yeah, if your big personality has been, I like to coach with somewhat of a fear factor around, or wanting to make it uncomfortable and embarrassing certain players in front of the group to make me feel more powerful. I loved your point. Can you be successful by not doing that? And the other question for me is the organization is you better damn well bring in some assistants who have the guts and a backbone to stand up and say, hey, wait, you're crossing the line.
Well, who's going to hire the assistants. The word's already on the street that DJ Smith comes with Mike Babcock, and that's awesome. DJ Smith's a great guy and a smart coach. He's been a head coach for a long time. Having a head coach as an assistant is good. Take us back to Gulitson, who they dearly miss. So anyway, that's out there. Let's see what happens. But I don't know, Jay. I guess I'd say this to you. What's going to happen the first time Evan Bouchard gives away his second goal of the game on a lackadaisical play in his own end when he's having a tough night? What's going to happen when Nurse, is in the wrong place at the wrong time for about the third time that night? What's going to happen when it's a 2-1 game and Connor McDavid attacks 4 guys on the opposition rather than dump a puck in and it goes the other way? How's he going to react to that, do you think?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. I know that people have said, oh, you know what, they need a coach who's harder. Okay, that's one thing. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I also like to say, like, hey, like when Chris Knobloch came in here, the team was very attentive and they loved what Chris Knobloch's message was, and they had the best record in the NHL, and then they went to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. Then they changed some players on their team, and then they added some other players. Oh, and then they still made it to the Stanley Cup Final, right? Like they had a bad year this year. I guess my only concern is it feels like all of this is being put on, well, we weren't coached, and that's why we haven't won. Like it just, like you're in the league 11 years. You need to be coached to manage the puck properly. Like, I don't know. I just feel, I feel like that's a little bit of a cop-out to be like, everything is on the coach now, whereas or goaltenders. And it's always been coach or goaltenders in Edmonton. Seems a little old for me.
Well, it is, and I agree. But the reality is it's easy to change out the coach and hard to change out the players. I will say this, and this has nothing to do with Babcock the person. The fact that these players have, like a small group of leaders, and I believe them to be McDavid and Draisaitl and Ekholm and Hyman, met with Babcock and had a long session with him last week and asked him, I was told, said, no hold bar. Who are you? Why did you do this? What did you do that? Are you thinking you're going to act like this? Like everything. And those guys came back to Bowman after that was done and said, this is our guy. We want to be pushed. So I want to say this. I actually, I agree with you. I don't blame the coach that Leon Draisaitl, when as great a player as he is, and he's a walk-in Hall of Famer, but in a 3-2 game, he throws a backhand pass over 4 sticks at the top of the zone that goes the other way. there's no coach needs to tell Leon Draisaitl not to do that. Leon still has a way of throwing that pass out there when in a game in November. That's not up to the coach. At this point, the players have to learn it. Well, he's 31 years old. Evan Bouchard's got some stuff to learn. He's got to learn how, when he's having an off night, you can't be as bad as he is on his off nights. He's a veteran guy now. He makes $10 million. So I guess, Jay, it is up to a coach to come in here. Darnell Nurse, can a coach help him at this point? I don't know. Many have tried. But if you're telling me it's just up to the players to figure it out themselves, I'm telling you, these guys are in their 30s now, and there's certain things that aren't getting figured out around here. A tough, hard coach is exactly what this team needs, in my opinion.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I thought they had it figured out. I thought Edmonton showed they could play defense in 2024.
No.
They were top 5 defensive team under non-block. So to me, it's just a consistent commitment. I mean, who knows? Maybe they need someone in their ear, possibly. I guess the bigger question is, Spec, who's going to be here? You mentioned Darnell Nurse, maybe. Here we are. It's June 9th. Are you surprised that Connor Murphy hasn't signed an extension yet?
Well, a part of a little bit, but part of it would be, I think you got to get your coach. I think every player who's a free agent says, who's my coach going to be? What are we doing here? I think that on defense, there's the Darnell Nurse question is out there. If Nurse is on the team, I got certain minutes. If he's not on the team, I got other minutes. Now, I know Murphy plays second pairing with him. So I think there's some things that Bowman has to sort out before he signs free agents personally. I think the coach is the first one. And now you got to go in the free agent market and you got to tell guys, our coach is Mike Babcock. Why don't you come sign with us? And all they're going to say, you know what they're going to say, Jay? They're going to say, man, I know 10 guys played for him. They hated his guts. Why am I signing with you, Stan? Right? That also comes with Mike Babcock.
I definitely think for depth guys that will be the challenge for, just because if you have 3 offers and you're like, oh geez, I think Edmonton's team's better, but they've got a coach who has this reputation, and it's not just an online rumor reputation. It's players putting their voice and their story on record. That's what's different about this.
Yep.
And so I'll be interested to see kind of in what direction it goes for the Edmonton Oilers moving forward. It should be fascinating to see.
Trent Frederick. How's Trent Frederick going to do with this coach?
Well, you know what? Is Trent Frederick, he should have a good summer of training, which he couldn't have last year. So I would like to think he would come in better opportunity. Hey, every player wants to you should have a clean slate from the head coach, theoretically. So you come in, it's hey, let's see what you got. So he'll come in and we'll see what he has, Spec. I think he's probably, you know what? I think they'd look to say, can we get him in a, like Knobloch said at the end of the year that, hey, we plan on having him on the penalty kill. Well, now we'll see if the new coach does. Because if he's not on the penalty kill, how's he get involved? So we'll have to see that.
Well, I guess. Yeah. What did he have last year? What did he have last year? 5 points, 7 points?
Yeah, but he's not on the power play is all I'm saying. It's hard for any player to contribute when you're not on either special team. Just look around the league. There's some guys that can do it, but it's difficult. That's all. Right? Yeah. And when they signed him, they didn't sign him to be in a number 12-4. They sure as hell wouldn't have paid him $3.85 million.
No, he played his way into the spot, is what he did. Right.
Yep.
So anyway, my point would be there's a guy that could use a coach that doesn't, when you have 4 bad shifts in a row, it doesn't sit well with them. There's been too much. I think this team got a little comfortable. And again, there's 2 questions here. I'm going to say it again. There's Mike Babcock, the coach. I think, and I wrote this today, I think the Oilers got the right coach. I don't know if they got the right man. And that's the 2 sides to this tale. I think they got the right coach. I think they need a hard, tough coach that's willing to tell the guy at the top of the lineup to play differently and tell the guy at the bottom lineup to play differently. Did they get the right man? Time's going to tell on that one.
Yeah. Spec, good stuff, buddy. We'll talk to you tomorrow. It's Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS construction. We'll come back. We got Tam Tate, also the head coach of the Elks. Mark Killam on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Are you looking for safe and reliable transportation solutions for your wedding, corporate retreat, or golf trip? Look no further than Silent Rides, Alberta's premier charter bus company. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer 3 different sizes of units to cater to your needs, and we provide first-class service at affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Are new McCafe crafted sodas just drinks or something more? Like Sprite Berry Bliss, Creamy Strawberry Coke, and Orange Dream. All swirled with fizzy flavor and topped with silky cold foam. Only at McDonald's. At participating McDonald's
So who sets the gold standard for sports fandom?
Just in
The
time for the
faithful.
big game. Score big savings at the Brick. Save up to $1,300 off sofas, up to 25% off bedroom and dining packages, plus save up to 40% on select mattresses. And buy
2-minute
more,
warning.
save more.
This is Cam Tate,
$1,000 off
Sports
select major appliances.
1440.
Watch Team Canada score big on a big screen TV, up to 50% off open box electronics. See in-store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club. Fun and friendly with morning rates Monday to Thursday. Just $65 for 18 holes with cart. $55 for seniors. Includes a $5 food voucher for dining at Cattail's Out of Bounds restaurant. There's early bird golf Saturday and Sunday. $50 for 9 holes with cart and snack voucher. 9 and dine Fridays after 4. $130 per pair for 9 holes cart and a $40 Out of Bounds gift card. Plus, Glow Golf every second Friday and bring your dog golfing on Mondays. Visit cattailcrossing.ca.
Hi, Edmonton. Are you ready to serve up some summer fun? Join Subaru at the Edmonton Expo Center on June 13th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for a free family-friendly tennis event designed for all ages from 3 to 83. Whether you're a seasoned player or have never picked up a racket, come to have fun and celebrate the start of tennis season in a comfortable indoor space. Register today at edmontontennis.ca. Make some memories and welcome summer with Subaru. Welcome to Uncommon.
The puck is passed up through the neutral zone, and here's a breakaway. He's coming in hot. He shoots it. Oh no, a broken stick.
When it comes to performance, quality parts matter. Napa Auto Parts has all the reliable parts, tools, and more to keep your vehicle running like a playoff contender. With over 85 locations in Alberta, visit your local Napa store today or shop online at napacanada.com. That's Napa know-how.
Week, Coach, welcome.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports.
Coach, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.5:30, we roll through. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. We got lots and lots of text coming through. Hey, guys, what have you heard about Paul Coffey? Is he coming back? Well, at the end of this season, I got the impression that was unlikely that he was going to return. Now, that was when for the first few days we thought Knobloch was still here, right? But Paul Coffey and Mike Babcock have no connections. Now, I know Knobloch didn't either, but Knobloch was a rookie head coach. And so they came in kind of together. I don't think that if Babcock's the head coach, that they would force him to have Paul Coffey as an assistant. If he wanted to, I guess they could have a discussion. But my gut would say probably not. But I can't say that with certainty. That's just kind of what I think. So, hey, Gregor, does Babcock still demand a premium salary? Does he come at a redemption discount? James. Fascinating question, James. I honestly don't know. I don't think he'll get paid what he got paid. Well, there's no chance I think he's getting paid what he got paid in Toronto. So, but I don't think he's going to be down at the lower tier. Middle tier, I could probably see. Maybe like upper mid, 4.5, 5 mil, somewhere around there. I could see it. So 4 mil. I'll be curious about the term. Hey, Gregor, is there anything they could put in the contract that would state if he violates it that terminates a contract? Well, there are clauses put into every contract. Like if you get fired with cause, like if you do something detrimental to the organization, stuff like that, yes. Like if you have a losing record, that's not cause, right? Like that's not going to get you fired without having to get paid. But would they put in specific verbiage for this? I guess they could. But if you're hiring him, it's almost like you're saying that stuff doesn't matter because that's why you're hiring him. Because he's told you he's changed. We have a lot of people. Hey, guys, what about like, I don't think bringing up guys like Kevin Constantine and Iron Mike Keenan are great examples of why this is a good hire. It's probably the opposite. Right? That's because things like there's lots of things in society that has changed because they realized it wasn't good. Okay? You can be a hard coach. You can be demanding. Belittling players and bullying players it's not synonymous with being a hard coach. Not at all. You can come in and, hey, I expect a worth ethic. You can come in and say, this is what we expect from you. And you can hold players accountable to that. But you can't come in and say, I expect you to do everything I say. I'm going to belittle you. I'm going to talk down to you. I'm going to bully you. And you just accept it. No one's going to thrive in that environment. Right? Hey, guys, the saddest thing about this is allowing players to make the decisive input. They should have impact, but senior leadership must have the judgment to protect the players from their own misapplication of intention. They want strength of character, but not play well under fear. Babcock will patronize the big guys and crush anyone he thinks is expendable. The automatic moment of truth is how Babcock treats support staff. All you need to know. And bullies hire for frailty, not strength. From Lauren. Hey, guys, Kate's decision. So this is about money. Bone was damaged goods, discount. Babcock damaged goods, discount. Casty for $6 million in 5 years. If Vegas says yes, Babcock's for $3 million or 2 or 3 mils. That's what he's doing. JP on the island. Well, we'll see. Interesting angle. Hadn't really thought of it that way at all. (833-401-1440) 833-401-1440. Hey, Gregor, what if Babcock comes in for a couple of years and then Cassie takes over? Well, you're assuming that Bruce Cassidy would be available in 2 years? I guess that's possible, but I don't see how that would be the strategy here. That's a pretty big thinking ahead, trying to put all the pieces in a puzzle that's kind of always that's like a puzzle that's moving constantly. Because honestly, we don't know what's going to happen in 6 to 8 months in sporting world for teams, right? Or what's going to happen even next year. So I don't think the plan is say we hire Babcock now and then we hire Cassidy in 2 years. At least I wouldn't think so. That seems like a very ill-advised plan. Let's get to Cam Tate's 2-minute warning, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. Here is the man, the myth, the legend, Cam Tate, and his 2-minute warning.
So who sets the gold standard for sports fandom? Consider the cathedrals of devotion. Argentina, where stadiums become symphonies. Celtic, loud enough to rattle the finest players alive. Montreal, with a hockey wisdom passed down like an heirloom. The Green Bay Packers, community-owned, with a season ticket waitlist measured not in years, but in generations. And Boca Juniors, where the very ground trembles beneath the faithful. A worthy company. But this week, here at home, the Mike Babcock story gloriously exposed something the rankings cannot measure. It exposed how compassionate Oilers fans truly are. And I hear you. I hear your texts on the text line, 1-833-401-1440. You care about the players who wear the crest, not merely as athletes, but as people, as fathers, as sons, as neighbors. You reach out not in anger, but in something rarer, in genuine human concern for those who carry this city's hopes on their shoulders. That concern is not performed. It is not posted for approval. It rises quietly from the same place in you that knows the difference between a game and a life. You want that 6th Stanley Cup, and you want it badly, with a longing this city has nursed for decades. But you have never let that longing harden you. You have held, all along, the harder thing, compassion, steady and unannounced. But these past hours have shown something deeper than any banner, anything hoisted to the rafters. They have shown empathy, the kind that crosses the line between spectator and human being. They have shown grace. They have shown the quiet, unannounced kind of character that asks nothing in return, that expects no credit, that simply shows up because it is right to do so. Edmonton may not yet sit among the top 5, but Edmonton will be there. This week has proven it. Be very, very proud of yourself. And keep doing what you're doing. 2-minute warning. Jason Gregor, Tanner Halley, Declan Kruger. Haven't seen you, young Kruger, in 3 weeks. How's the old hairstyle holding up? This is Cam Tate, Sports 1440.
Oh, Tater, I love it. Declan goes away, no one gets chirped. Declan comes back, boom, right in on it. Well, that and Tanner Halley. I like that one.
What does that mean?
I don't even know. I think, somehow. Did he write your name in wrong? Into the machine.
I mean, if you go Thomas and Commodore,
maybe that's what he's doing. Now, I kind of like that, actually. Maybe that's the new nickname, old Tanner Halley, right here for you. I love it. We'll come back. We'll talk more coaching with the coach on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
There's still time to book your tournament at the Ranch Golf and Country Club.
As one of Alberta's top tourney courses, the Ranch makes hosting fun and easy for any group or business. No matter how unique or unusual, they'll accommodate your vision for an event no one will soon forget.
Start planning your tournament today at their beautifully landscaped course on the outskirts of West Edmonton. On-site event coordinators are here to help, but hurry, availability is limited and booking fast.
Visit theranchgolf.com.
Air conditioning from Legacy Heating and Cooling is like a country love song because you always know exactly what you're getting. Cause girl, you're hotter than Tennessee, cooler than Legacy's AC, blowing that southern breeze over me. Wheat fields, cold beer, pickup trucks, John Deere. You see, Legacy is that predictable because Legacy always has AC in stock and will install it faster than a truck burning down a back road. Plus, no interest and no payments for 1 year. That's how you lasso your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. And yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save on Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save on Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the two best names in the boots business.
Everybody loves a beautiful day in Edmonton. Hey, it's Jamie, and Green Drop Lawn Care is giving you one more reason to love the nice weather. Next nice day service. People always ask, how soon can Green Drop get here? Well, when you sign up with Next Nice Day Service, we'll be there by tomorrow. Assuming Mother Nature cooperates, we'll be fertilizing and treating your weeds by the very next day. We'll even include drought fighter at no additional cost. Just another reason we have been Canada's lawn experts since 1979. Easy online signups only at greendrop.com.
It's Canadian Tire's summer big
I know you got a good coif of hair, so maybe you're just like, hey, let it go. But
I mean, they told us to make a big
abnormal
splash.
conditions. Normally, you're not playing in that much rain. So, what as a head coach, did you feel most impressed by your team's performance?
Businesses across the province, Alberta's rural natural gas utilities are here to fuel life affordably, reliably, and safely. We're members of the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops, providing natural gas to keep our rural neighborhoods warm and connected every day. It's local, dependable, and it's ours. To learn more about the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops and our members, and how natural gas fuels your community, visit fedgas.com. Alberta's energy. Game on.
This is the moment you become queen.
On June 21st, the global phenomenon
Normally, you're not
returns
playing in that
solely
much
on
rain.
Crave.
So,
HBO's House of the
as a
Dragon
head
is
coach,
back, and the war for
did
the
you
Iron
feel
Throne
most
is about
impressed
to
by your
begin.
team's performance?
Get ready for a new season of breathtaking spectacle, shocking betrayal, and explosive drama.
You are the Queen of Dragons. You have an absolute power within your grasp.
House of the Dragon, new season June 21st, only on Crave. Subscribe now at crave.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
All right, 44, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. The Gregor Show, presented by playalberta.ca. As it's time for our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Ice, center the new state-of-the-art entertainment facility in Nisku. And guess what? Big concert coming. Gene Simmons will be in town in a nice intimate venue. Get your tickets at silenticecenter.com. As we're going to get to head coach Mark Killam of the undefeated Green and Gold, and it was raining hard in Ottawa. So when you consider all of those circumstances, what impressed Coach Killam the most about his team's performance?
Finding a way. Week one is difficult because you don't have a lot of film. No one shows anything. Even though you have prior years' film on coordinators, everyone studies and evolves and tries to do that stuff in the off season. So you kind of go in, with what you think they're going to run, but you're not 100% sure. That's the first part. Second part, it's week one with your football team. I mean, you played a little bit together in the preseason, but not obviously 60 minutes. You don't really know who you're going to be. You have a good idea again, but until you get out there and let those guys spin, you know what I mean, and let them go for the entire game, you don't really know. And, we had, a little bit of adversity on the trip. We're out east. It's, conditions were what they were. And, I was just really proud of the guys for, finding a way. We kind of got on our heels. We jumped out. We were playing well early. We were moving the ball. We were throwing the football, which is important in those kind of conditions. And then, we had a little bit of momentum give up at the half, but came out strong in the third quarter. So I was pleased for the guys.
Yeah, and getting a win, lots of these guys haven't been there the whole time, yourself included, but everybody knows what the numbers are. And, starting out on the right foot is a good thing for your group. I want to start with your defense, Mark. Anytime you create that many turnovers, and I know, Ty Ford was, you can joke about it afterwards. I can't believe I dropped that one. And you guys could have had maybe 6 turnovers in that game. Your defense, lots of all returning secondary linebackers have experience. You brought in some new D linemen, but lots of guys with experience. Your defense really seemed to be clicking right away. What did you like about your D, and do you feel, much more confident that your defense can disrupt a lot of offenses this year?
Oh, yeah, I do. I mean, I think first and foremost, they were physical, and that's who we're always going to be when we take the field, no matter what the side of the ball you're talking. But you could really see it defensively. I mean, we were knocking things down too. They'd throw, something underneath, it'd get knocked down right there. So it wasn't a lot of yak. We were playing physical. We were getting, Jake off his first read a little bit and making him hold the ball, and that's always a good thing. But those guys, they've been looking like that all through camp. I mean, when you get that first group running together, and we're expecting big things. And similar to what you said, yeah, we made fun of them, but we called it out. We took the ball away 4 times, and to be the team that we want to be, we've got to come down with those 3. There was 3 other times we could have intercepted the football, and that's who we're going to be. So we continue to stress the things that we need to improve.
How much of those drops, Mark, do you equate to weather?
I don't know. I mean, in professional football, we feel like if you get your hands on the ball, you should be able to come down with it, especially if you're one of the more athletic players on the field in T Ford. So, I mean, he was kind of in an awkward position, kind of flipped over his hips, and it was like basically a punt. But, we could have ended the game.
Yeah.
And JJ's could have ended the game. And, I mean, that's, that was the point I tried to make to the guys is that, first of all, I'm really, really, really proud, and I don't want them to lose sight of the fact that we won a game in the last 3 minutes in the CFL, because that's what this league is. But we could have made those guys quit earlier in that game if we just, hung on to those, made a few more plays, scored some 7s instead of 3s in the red zone as well. So that's the things that we're looking at to try to improve.
Mark Killam joins us, head coach of the Green and Gold. And you mentioned offensively, Mark, you know what? I guess let's start with Justin Rankin. And, there was lots of people thinking, hey, this guy's maybe the most electrifying player in the game. And week 1 definitely showed that. 2 unbelievable runs that, especially on the one where it didn't look like there was anything going, and then he just jukes and jives 2 guys, and boom, all of a sudden it's a 60-yarder, and you're kind of like, oh my goodness. I know we had Cody Fajardo on yesterday, and he said, due to the weather, you were hoping to get Rankin involved even more in the passing game. But when you have a guy who is that dynamic, how much more emphasis do you have to have as an offense to say, come hell or high water, we got to get this guy the ball?
Yeah, you do. I mean, first and foremost, the guy is worth the price of admission and then some. I mean, he is a bona fide superstar. He literally can score every single time he touches the football. So for a fan of the team, I think that that's incredibly important to know that they've got guys like that on the team. Second part of that is for receivers and everyone else on the football team, we got to do everything we can to make sure we're blocking and getting a hat on a hat. So that if he does catch a check down at 5 yards past the line of scrimmage, we understand he can turn it into 61 yards or whatever he did the other day. So, it kind of creates that belief and reinforces the things that you talk about on a daily basis, that he is a legitimate threat. So I can't remember what the first part of the question was, but that's when you're talking about Justin Rankin, you kind of get off on a sidetrack just like he is when he's on the field.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, I know you can't just have a game plan for one guy, but when you have a guy that dynamic, there's almost, hey, we got to I don't know if there's a set number of touches whether it's receiving or running, to look to say, we got to be within a ballpark of, a certain amount of touches for this guy every game.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And we want to diversify as well, Jason. I think that was a big part of what we tried to spend our offseason doing, is evolving the looks a little bit, different personnel groupings, different formations, to try to put him in different positions versus, some of the things that we had success with last year. So you're right. There is, I don't know what the set number is. And, certainly as the season goes on, we have to diversify, because defenses will just, they're going to key what they're doing to where he is on the field. But, you definitely like to get him as many as you can, because he can change the game in so many ways.
So you go into your offense, Mark, and, settling for the field goals as often as you had. When you look back on the film, what do you feel you would have liked different, that you would take those and make them touchdowns rather than field goals?
I think there's some details on every single one of them was different. I mean, there's some details in execution. There's some alignment issues. There was one where, we ran the wrong route and we came off it, and that's when we went to down, and we couldn't squeeze it. There's a bunch of those that happen, and the important thing is we identified them in our meetings the day after the game. We reinforce them to the players, and then we'll take that information when we put it into the plan next week and try to re-emphasize those things so that we can come away with touchdowns, not field goals. I hated kicking them. I mean, but points were at a premium at the time, but I thought getting them was the right thing to do at the time.
And that was going to be my question, because there's a few times that, you're inside the 5-yard line. What's the thought process there to say sometimes maybe we'll go for it? Obviously, you never want to turn down points, but there is the potential of being that close for a 7. Kind of take us through the mindset. Is that a split-second decision, or are those some things, Mark, that you've kind of thought of as a coach, in every scenario possible leading up to a game, to say, okay, if this happens, we're going to try this. If this happens, then we're going to do it. Does time of the game impact that at all?
Yeah, and I think opponent does as well. I know, we have to score 7s to beat teams like BC, who we know are going to score points.
Okay.
I think that's all part of how we prepare during the week. I'll sit down with Jordan before the game, and we'll go through all of, what do we like? 2nd and 2, 2nd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3 to 5. How many plays do we feel like we have? How many 2-point conversions do we feel like we have? If it's a gotta have it, what's our down and distance? So we go through all that stuff. Me just personally, as philosophy wise, is that I feel like if we're inside the 10, we should score touchdowns. And conditions most certainly played into my decision making in the last game. The way that our defense was playing, I thought was good, but I also knew that points mattered, and we were trying to do whatever we could to come away 1-0 in that game.
Mark Killam. If you want to hear the rest of that interview, you can go to jasongregor.com or listen anywhere where you get your podcasts. Have yourselves a wonderful Tuesday evening. Enjoy it. Brandon Busty starting. Freddie Anderson isn't even dressed. Clearly, he is banged up from that collision in Game 3. So it'll be the Bustinator tonight for Carolina. We got the Jays game coming up after Connor Halley's Sports 1440 update. You can listen to it. The Jays in action against the Philadelphia Phillies. Cease on the mound. Thanks to Connor and Declan. As always, thanks to all of you for listening. If you missed any parts of the show, kill him, Mike Commodore, and more. Go to jasongregor.com or listen to the podcast or watch it on YouTube. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. You need to have tires? They'll help you out. But guess what? Your vehicle maybe not working the way you want it. They can show you with their digital vehicle report, fountaintire.com. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
We're about 10 minutes away from puck drop down in Vegas as the Golden Knights and Canes meet in Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final. Vegas currently leading out series 2-1 off the ice. Great day for Gabriel Landeskog as he won the Bill Masterson Memorial Trophy and the Mark Messier NHL Leadership Award. In the majors, Jays in action right now, trailing the Phillies 1-0 in the bottom of the third. We'll join that game in progress following the upcoming commercial break. Elsewhere, Yankees and Guardians tied at 2. Pirates and the Dodgers 2-1 in the fifth. And the Marlins have a 3-2 lead over the Diamondbacks in the fourth. In Baltimore Orioles trailing the Mariners 3-1. Later tonight, Cubbies taking on the Rockies, Angels host the Astros, Reds get the Padres, Giants host the Nationals, and the Brewers and Athletics meeting in Las Vegas. In our city, you got the Riverhawks back in action, hosting Victoria. First pitch, 7:05 down at Remax Field. And World Cup news, as Jaden Nelson will replace injured midfielder Marcelo Flores on the Canadian roster. Flores was ruled out of the tournament after suffering a serious knee injury on May 30th. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, Blue Jays baseball on the AM dial. If you're streaming, it's Fox Sports Radio. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440.
A Stingray